Oh, that's the stuff. That is absolutely stuff. This is Bombers Game Mic. I'm Paul DiCostanzo, and today is Yankees home opener at the Cathedral in the Bronx, the place that so many of us Yankee fans have called home in one iteration or another, in one building or another, some of us for many decades. And it never gets old, folks. That's the thing that I always find amazing about the home opener, right? Is when the Yankees open up on the road, it's kind of delayed gratification. Because it's the start of the season, but does the season really start until there's actual meaningful baseball in the Bronx? Hey, I'm a Yankee fan. I know where my loyalties lie on that particular question. And boy, do I wish I was there today, because it's going to be a good one. In fact, the Yankees are hosting, amazingly, the 5-1 Miami Marlins. And, we're not going to get too hyperbolic when it comes to the Marlins at this point, because essentially they just sat at home for the last week and knocked off Colorado and the baseball team from the south side of Chicago. And, they're major league teams, right? Credit where credit is due. But that ain't exactly the top class of either the American or National League at this point. But we're lucky because the other day, of course, we're coming off a Cam Schlittler start. And as a Yankee fan, I have seen pitchers come and go. I have seen them succeed wildly. I have seen them fail spectacularly. I mean, goodness gracious, Carl is a 4-letter word in the vocab of Yankee fans of a certain age, right? We've seen that. And we've seen guys that are all hyped up and come out of nowhere and just burn out. Remember Job Chamberlain? I remember. But this is something special. This is something unique that doesn't come around that often as far as he is concerned. Poise, aggression, professionalism, efficiency, raw stuff, and just an absolute sharpshooter on the mound. And take it start by start. Drink it in, because it's a special thing. I'm a big starting pitching guy, right? When the Yankees have the possibility of having a great rotation, which if they get properly healthy in a reasonable time span this year, pretty good chance that'll happen. But we're not there yet. And luckily, we've had Max Fried and Cam Schlittler who, right now, like I said, drink it in, appreciate it. Because there's going to come a point where he's going to be really going around the league a second time. The hitters are going to adjust. He's going to adjust. And we're going to see what happens. But right now is just a very special moment in time. But for more than one reason, because like I said, it's Yankee opening day. And Wil Warren is on the hill for the Yankees. And, 4 1/3 last week out in San Francisco. Kept the Yankees in the game. He did everything you could ask of him at this point. And he knows every start for him is absolutely precious, especially as Garrett Cole gets closer, as Carlos Rodon gets closer, and the other incredible arms that are sitting right down there at AAA at the moment. So, it is it's a big day for him. You can tell I was listening to a little bit of the pregame show on the radio. Susan was talking to him, and Wil Warren, that is. And you could definitely tell that he was nervous. And she's asking him, well, how do you feel? How do you feel about this? All legit questions, but questions literally he can't answer with anything more than a very brief, repeatable soundbite at this point. Because his mind isn't about his emotions about the moment. His mind, as a professional, is getting the job done. Ask him after the game. He'll give you a good answer one way or another, I can tell you that. So that's something to keep in mind. And for the Marlins here, right, like I said, knocking off Colorado and the Southsiders in your first homestand is not nothing, right? But they are the dregs of baseball at this point. We know that. But Eury Perez today is a really interesting guy to watch if you're into pitching. 22 years old. I think he's 6'8". I mean, the guy is huge, even by baseball and professional athlete standards. And he has a very live arm, right? I was watching over some of his start from last week against Colorado, and it was impressive to say the least, right? And what more could you ask for? So right now, this kid could definitely come out and do something special today. I have no doubt about that for the Marlins. But for the Yankees and Wil Warren, hey, we finally got some home cooking. We finally have our home opener. We're here, 5-1 off the road. You know, the Giants are about a 500 team. We get that. But it's still hard to win on the road, especially on a coast that's 3 time zones away, even for a professional athlete. And then, of course, they did a very fine job out in Seattle. In reality, we know they should have swept them, but whatever. You know, we're here, 5-1. They took the trip about as well as you could take it by any reasonable expectation at this point. And now we get the gift of an opening day where you have the Yankees that seem to be on a roll, where the team seems to be settling in. Obviously, you want to see more from the offense. I don't think you can ask more from the starting pitching at this point. I don't think that is particularly realistic. They have done so much. But that's okay. And that's always okay. And so really where we are right now in all of this is, a pretty incredible thing, at least as far as I'm concerned, right? So here we are. Here we're going. You know, we are right on into this thing today, and it is a fantastic day for baseball. And, we'll get the game in there. It'll all be a lot of fun. We'll be enjoying it. We'll be enjoying it together with the call. How can we not, right? So, here we are. We're going to do this thing today. We're doing it together. And if you don't have the joy yet, if you haven't had the privilege of being at the stadium today, enjoy it with me. I'd love to have you here. So, for all that it is worth. So, yeah, here we go. Let's test our stream health real quick before anything goes terribly awry. And we'll be up and ready to go and calling some baseball today, because that is frankly where it's at. Alrighty, let's see what we got. Okay, here we go. What do we have here? Yeah, and such is the way of things at this point. All right, we're looking great, guys. So here's baseball together. I'm down. I'm here for it. And let's get this game on the road here in just a moment. So we're going to be looking at the live feed here in a moment. Yes has the broadcast today, which is awesome. I am getting so tired of these national broadcasts that tend to fumble things up. All right, I'm not going to go on the whole thing about the Netflix thing again. If you've been here and you happen to have shown up again, you know. So that is what it is. But hey, here we are. It's opening day. We about to have some serious fun. And hey, look at this. Delta is advertising for the game today, just in case you're wondering. And yeah, I really do actually enjoy playing on the advertisements that come over on Yes. There's just something oddly satisfying about it. I can't entirely explain it, but that's where it is. That's where we are. So, hey, that's cool. That's fun. And so, yeah, let's see where it's all going today. I hope you are as excited for this as I am, because it is absolutely 100% that kind of day. So, as far as the Yankees, though, let's take a look at their starting lineup. And this is pretty much the lineup that we've all kind of come to expect at this point. I don't think that's unfair to say. But in this case, right, bringing on us over to game day, as far as the Yankees go, leading off, center fielder, left-hander Trent Grisham, followed by Judge in right, batting second. Belly is in left, batting third. Rice at first base today. He is batting cleanup. Stanton, our professional DH, is in the 5-hole. Jazz at second base, batting sixth. My boy, Austin Wells, catching there behind the dish, batting seventh. Caballero nailing down short in the 8-hole. And Ryan McMahon has the hot corner today for the Yankees. Now, as the Marlins go, they have Marcy out in center, batting leadoff. We got Edwards at second, batting second. Ramirez, their DH in the 3-hole. Hicks, their catcher, batting cleanup. Lopez down at short. Casey out and right. Casey at the bat. Ha 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 ha. Batting in the 6th hole, Norby is batting 7th at first base. Mr. Conine Jr., Griffin Conine, out in left field. And then, of course, Paulie, the third baseman, should be hard for me to remember, batting 9th. And, of course, they'll be going up against Wil Warren today, and the Yankees will be facing Eury Perez. So, here we go, folks. We get to sit through all the pomp and circumstance we can possibly handle here today. And you know what? Awesome. Awesome. I'm here for this. Everybody that is watching this game right now surely knows just how awesome it is to wait all winter, not just for the season to start, but the season to start in the Bronx. That's where it's at. That's where it's always been at. And it's been a while since I've been out to a home opener in the Bronx. Frankly, a bit too long, to be sure. And there's always, it's an early game in the season, right? And yet, it still has a big game feel. You want to impress. David Cohn put it best. I was listening to him earlier today, that it's the fans in many ways that determine if it's a big game. Our enthusiasm, our interest, our energy that we bring to the ballpark. And right now, the Yankees have everything and then some to be optimistic for. I know I am, and it's been fantastic, even with a relatively slow winter here. I get that part. That's okay. So, for all intents and purposes, the Yankees are doing their thing. We're going to be doing it with them here in a couple of moments once this game finally does kick off properly, and I hope it does sooner than later, no doubt. But, yeah, here we go. And I don't know, maybe this is just showing my age here. I can't really tell, all told. But there's still something weird about seeing FanDuel and other online gambling on sports literally everywhere around baseball. There was a time when you couldn't imagine Major League Baseball ever having a team in Las Vegas. But boy, those times have definitely changed. We've come a long way since 1919, and quite frankly, in more ways than one, no doubt. But here we go, at the ballpark, getting ready for these introductions for both sides. And if you've been to opening day before, well, let me start by saying this. If you've never been to a Yankee opening day yet, if you have the ability ever to do so, because, this is a team that has a global fan reach, right? But if you find yourself in the area, the right time in the right place, just if you can find a few bucks in your pocket to get through the turnstile and get to experience it once in your life, it is definitely a worthwhile experience, There's a premium to it. There's no doubt about that, but it is a memory that you'll take with you forever, especially when you have a team that is as gifted as the Bombers that we have here. And just a reminder, this is Bombers Game Mike. So hopefully we'll get this game underway here in a few minutes. Certainly at this point, the Yankees are coming off the off day. As you'd expect, anytime you have an East Coast team that's traveling back after a game on the West Coast, I think it's actually built into the CBA that there has to be an off day, a thing at least under most circumstances, to be sure. Here we go. Here comes Wil Warren, the righty. 4-seamer, 2-seamer. Got himself something of a sweeper, does the right-hander. And a bit of a change, right? And then, of course, you have all this great Steadicam action out there in the outfield at Yankee Stadium. Unfortunately, one of the few Steadicam jobs that is still relatively steady in this media market. Who am I kidding? But it is awesome. It is awesome. Yep, Jacob Marseille, Xavier Edwards, Augustin Ramirez, Liam Hicks, Otto Lopez, Owen Casey, Connor Norby, Griffin Conine, and Graham Paulie for the Marlins. And yeah, Liam Hicks is absolutely mashing so far. 467, 3 home runs, 12 RBIs through the first 5 games. Wil Warren last year, 33 starts, 9-8, a 4.44 record, 162 in the third innings pitched, 22 home runs allowed, 65 walks, 171 strikeouts, more than one per inning, and the opposition totaling 250 against him. Yeah, it's a fastball combo. Velocity is up, changeup for a left-hand pitcher. If you're watching this thing, you probably know what the deal is with this. So we're getting excited. We're getting ready to go. We are here in the Bronx. Well, you're here with me and we're watching the Bronx, presumably, and having all the fun we could possibly have doing this. So, as I like to say, some of the most fun you can have with the clothes on. Yep. Billy out there in left, Grisham in center, Judge in right, McMahon at third, Caballero at short, Chisholm at second, Rice at first, Wells behind the dish, Wil Warren on the mound, and of course our professional designated hitter, Giancarlo Stanton. And yeah, ooh, boy. Hard week for umpires, though. I see the graphic on here rating the home plate umpire Tom Hanahan. But let's get ready. As we get ready, time has been called in. Stepping into the dish is Marseille. Warren deals the first pitch. Strike, fastball inside corner to the lefty, and the count is now 0-1. And Jacob Marcy so far, 136 with 2 RBIs, not having a great season quite yet. And the second pitch from, there we go, is a ball on the outside corner, and the count is 1-1. That fastball clocked in on the outside corner at 95 miles per hour. For those of you just following with the play-by-play, Warren looks in for the sign. He comes set. He deals. That's a four-seam fastball outside to the left-handed hitter, and the count is now 2-1. And obviously Marcy is looking to, break the mini funk he's got going on here. And who could blame him, right? Nobody wants to have those numbers early. The 2-1. Swinging, and it is a swinging strike. Swung right on through it, and the count is now 2-2. And Warren, for the most part, seems to be moving in and out early. Obviously, Austin Wells commands a great deal of confidence. Here's the 2-2. Foul back behind the plate, and the count remains 2-2. And that's one thing I really do like, all told, about our boy Austin Wells here, is that he is such a steady presence back there. You can tell they trust him. And there's no substitute for that in baseball, having that confidence of the starting five. Now, here's the 2-2. Fastball up and away to the left-hander, and the count is now full 3-2. So he's trying to blow on his hand there a little bit, trying to get a little bit of feeling into it. He's rubbing up on the ball. For those not familiar, Wil Warren kind of goes from a semi-stretch wind-up there, keeps it short, and time is granted by the home plate umpire on the request of Marcy, and the count remains 3-2. And old 29 gets back up on the rubber, and the Yankee faithful are on their feet. And here's the 3-2 pitch. Strike 3, fastball swung right on through it. And that'll do for the first out of the inning. The first strikeout of the day by Wil Warren. And Marcy just swung right through that. That thing was just a straight-up fastball. A little bit of late movement on it. It was actually right out over the plate. He couldn't touch it. So that is our first out of the inning. Now here's Xavier Edwards, who's raking 409 so far this year. And the first pitch from Wil Warren, fly ball to right field. Drifting back goes Judge, looking up. And that is gone. That's a first pitch home run to the left-handed hitter. And the Miami Marlins now take an early 1-0 lead on the huge home run by Xavier Edwards. The exit velo on that apparently was about 103.9. So an unfortunate start there after that great strikeout. And right now we're getting to see why exactly the Marlins at the moment are as hot as they are. But let's look at the location. Oh, that was middle. I mean, that was batting practice, unfortunately, for Wil Warren. And he was all over that. I mean, Judge gave kind of like that complimentary drift back, but it was several rows deep. Now, here's the first pitch to Ramirez. Swinging strike, swings right over the top of that sinker, and the count is 0-1. And it was pretty much a no-doubter out to right center. And Judge, like I said, was just doing it to be polite at that point and his drifting back. So now here's the 0-1 pitch. That looks like a sinker well into the right-handed hitter. And the count is 1-1. So 1-0 Miami here early on with 1 out in the top of the first inning. Gustin Ramirez right now in the 3-hole batting 188 this year. Wil Warren looks into Austin Wells. He comes set. And the 1-1 pitch. Did he go around? They look to the first base umpire, and the umpire says yes. The first base umpire says he goes around. And it was a check swing, but he could not hold up. And yeah, you can see it there on the replay. Get a couple of good camera. Yeah, there's no question. He made the right call down there first. So now Wil Warren looks in, and the 1-2 pitch. Strike 3, fastball, outside corner. Punched right out and in the observatory. He got the backwards K on that one, and that will be the second out of the inning. And that looked kind of like a really sharp two-seam fastball from Warren, just whispering there on the outside corner to the right-hander. Yes. Oh, there's no question. On the overhead, he definitely whispered across the black. About as nice as you're going to do. Now, here's the first pitch to Hicks. A ball down and in. The count is 1-0. And Liam Hicks, as we were talking about earlier, he's raking right now. 467, 3 home runs, 12 RBIs. He ate up Colorado and Chicago on the opening homestand. Wil Warren comes set. The 1-0. It looks like a sweeper down and in for a ball, and the count is 2-0. So Wil Warren has definitely had an up and down, albeit very, very brief up and down here in the top of the first inning. He looks into Wells. And here's a 2-0 from Warren. Fly ball out to left center field. Chasing over it is Trent Grisham. He brings it on in, and that will do it. So 1 run on 1 very big hit, and Miami has a 1-0 lead. We go to the bottom of the first inning. Here on Bombers Game Mic. Yeah, that home run to Edwards there was rather epic. I don't have a nice way of putting that, unfortunately. But, hey, the Yankees are here to do one thing and one thing in particular, and that's carry each other when each other needs to be carried, right? That's what makes for a great game. That's what makes for an important and wonderful team over 162. So he definitely has stuff. But on that bomb, that was middle. There's really no other way to put that. So hopefully he can continue settling down. The Yankees can, pick him up, and the Yankees move forward. And now we're going here to the bottom of the first inning. You guys heard the lineup. We got Grisham leading off, Judge in the 2-hole, Belly 3, Rice 4, Stanton 5, Chisholm 6, Wells 7, Caballero 8, McMahon 9. That's kind of the lineup they're going to be hanging up a lot so long as they stay healthy. And as I was talking about here's Eury Perez. All right, this guy has really good stuff. He's only 22 years old. I believe, like I was saying earlier, 6'8", so he's a really big guy. And he's still got the baby face, too. You can tell. He's somebody, though, you have to imagine high-octane fastball, wipeout slider. Yeah, we know. If you watched him and you've seen him before, you can definitely see the potential here. And in all likelihood, he'll be nasty today. But you know what? Them's the big leagues, folks. So, stepping into the box is the left-handed center fielder, Trent Grisham, for the Yankees. Yep. Going in left, Marcy in center, Casey in right, Paulie at short, Paulie at third, Lopez at short, Edwards at second, Norby at first. Here we go, and the first pitch. Fastball, outside corner and away, and the count is 1-0 to Trent Grisham, who over 6 games, batting 200, 2 RBIs. Like I said, he knows he's on the hot seat in the big picture. Here's the 1-0 to Grisham. Foul back, third base side and out of play. And the count is 1-1. Because Jason Dominguez is just sitting down there being pretty darn consistent down in Scranton Wilkes-Barre at the moment. But right now, he's the guy that has the ballot. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Check swing, goes to the third base umpire. Did he go? No swing, says Blue down at third, and the count is 2-1. You go here on the replay. Oh, that was so close. I think Grisham got away with one there, but hey, We'll take it. Now, Eury Perez looks in, and here's the 2-1 pitch. Fastball outside corner, just missed to the third base umpire. And it looks like we got an ABS going on here right now, so let's see what happens. Let's see what's going on. Yep, here we are. And the Marlins have challenged, and it is indeed a ball. So the original call stands, and the Marlins have lost one of their ABS challenges this afternoon through the first 9. So 3-1 count to Trent Grisham. And obviously, Eury Perez ain't happy about it, but them's the breaks, folks. He looks in for the sign. He deals in the 3-1 pitch. Fastball outside corner, and Trent Grisham comes on around to first base with the lead-off walk. And that, of course, brings the reigning AL MVP, our boy, our hero, Aaron Judge. And he's back at home, ready for that home cooking. And yeah, that's really nasty stuff they're showing there on the graphic from Yes. Now, the first pitch to Judge from Eury Perez. He deals. Fouled back and out of play down the first base side, and the count is 0-1. And Judge, he may be only hitting 125, but it's with a couple of homers, 3 RBIs, 535 OPS over the first 6 games. He's done some important mashing at the right moments. Perez looks in to Judge, and the 0-1 pitch. That looks like a ball, a sweeper, down and out of the zone. And the count is 1-1 to Judge. Now, Perez looks in for the sign. He's at the stretch. He deals. Oh, it is absolutely gone. A huge 2-run home run from Aaron Judge. Right out deep into the left field bleachers. Well over 450 feet. And the Yankees now take a 2-1 lead. It did not take long for the Yankees to respond. And Aaron Judge with the huge blast. They hit it like Overlord at Normandy on D-Day. Oh my goodness, that was an absolute assault on that baseball. You could have filed attempted homicide charges with how hard and how far he hit that baseball. So 2-1 Yankees. Here's the first pitch to Bellinger. Swinging strike, fastball outside corner, and the count is 0-1. And we still have nobody out here in the bottom of the first inning. Perez looks in, and here's the 0-1 to Bellinger pitch. Fastball well outside to the left-hander, and the count is 1-1. So 2-1 Yankees here. They respond immediately. What you gonna do? That's what they do best. Perez looks in, and the 1-1 pitch to Bellinger. Down in the dirt, and a ball, and the count is 2-1. So that home run by Aaron Judge was like basically middle. It was right in his wheelhouse, middle in kind of area, and he just extends on it. Right? Just an absolute mammoth pitch. Now here's the 2-1 to Bellinger. Fly ball out to center field. Going in as a center fielder, called off by the left fielder, Conine. He makes the catch, and they nearly collide. Let's see what's going on there with the center fielder. Conine managed to miss him. So that's a start. And it seems that all they've done is miss their caps, which I suppose is really all you can ask for in that situation. Nobody wants to see an injury. But, yeah, that's the first out of the inning. That thing just kept drifting back, and they just started about triangulating between the shortstop, center fielder, and Conine out there and left, who eventually got the grab. And, yeah, they keep showing the replay here on Yes of that Judge home run. And that's the kind of stuff that goes on career highlight reels. That's just, that's how hard he hit that ball. So 2-1 Yankees here, top bottom of the first inning, 2 out. Here's the pitch. Strike. Looks like to be a sweeper on the inside corner to Ben Rice, and the count is 0-1. And yeah, Yes is definitely getting all the mileage they can out of that blastola. Here's the pitch. Swinging strike, fastball well out and away from the left-handed hitting Rice, who through 5 games, 412, 1 home run, 5 RBIs with a 1289 OPS in this short season. Looking in is Perez. He has the 0-2 count on Rice, and here's the pitch. Popped up behind the plate and out of play, and the count remains 0-2 to Rice. And Perez has thrown 15 pitches so far in this early game. One over the minimum here so far. Looking in is Perez. Digging in is Rice. Perez gets the sign, and he deals the 0-2. Fastball well down and away. Looks like actually a changeup, in fact, in the dirt to the left-handed hitting Rice. Counts 1-2. Yeah. Every angle, yes, wants to show us that home run. We'll take it. Now, Perez winds, and the 1-2 pitch. Popped him right up. Is it in play? Where'd it go? And it's well behind the plate now. Everybody was confused on that one. I mean, he literally was just like trying to pop. Looked like he was swinging to hit it directly up, just kind of how far ahead Rice got on that pitch. So the count remains 1-2 with one out here in the bottom of the first inning. 2-1 Yankees after the big blow by Aaron Judge to take the lead. The pitch. Strike 3, and there goes Ben Rice for the second out of the inning. He goes down looking, so you get the backwards K on that, and that is 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. And on the replay there, yeah, that looks like, oh, they're calling that a four-seam fastball. Yeah, that sounds about right. That looks about right. There was no, like, huge tailing action back in. It was a four-seamer. Now up to the plate is Giancarlo Stanton. Here's the first pitch. Fouled off down the first base side and out of play. Count is 0-1. So 2-1 Yankees here early in the home opener with 2 outs here. 0-1 count to Giancarlo Stanton, the 5th batter this inning. The Yankees mostly professional DH. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Well in the dirt. Looks like a change. The count is 1-1. And, yeah, they're looking over Conine, and they're looking out in center field, making sure everyone's all right. They are. They're fine, as far as we can tell. Perez looks in to the catcher. He winds, and the 1-1 pitch to Stanton. That is a fly ball down and towards the stand, giving chase, and just falls there. And just eluded the catch on the part of one first baseman, yes. So, right now, yeah, he came close. He gave tremendous effort there. There's no question. You can see it on the replay. He caught it. He missed it just in front of the tarp there on the first base side. So, give him credit for effort, right? Perez looks in. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Well, sweeper down and away and out of the zone. In fact, right over the left-handed hitting batter's box. And the count is 2-2. Jazz Chisholm is on deck, awaiting his first at-bat of the day. Winding is Perez. The 2-2 pitch, grounded to short. Field fires to first in time, and that will do it. But make no mistake, we go to the top of the second inning, and the Yankees have a 2-1 lead on the power of that Judgian blast. So, 2-1 Yankees here after one full in the home opener. This is Bombers Game Mike. My goodness, my goodness, my goodness. So, hey, for a home opener so far, yours truly ain't complaining. Like, not at all. You know, we're doing pretty well there, I think. So, you know, that's the thing about Aaron Judge, right? He's 35 years old now. And it's interesting because we're living in an era in which 35 for a baseball player does not need to be the beginning of the end or even the end of the beginning. Go a little Churchillian there. But he wasted no time picking up Wil Warren, and we're going to see how he responds. You know, Wil Warren's a tough guy. You know, he's a competitor. You're happy to have him on the bump out there, you know, especially given the injuries that the Yankees have dealt with. And the best part about it is, you know, they got options. Yankee fans, we got options. And it's good to see them exercised properly, to say the least. So, here we are, folks. 2-1 Yankees going to the top of the second inning here at Yankee Stadium. God, how I've been waiting to say that. Yeah, I'll be in the area, I think, in about 10 days. And I think that's when the Yankees actually come off of another road trip. And I'm hoping to be able to pop my head in the stadium, take it all in. You got to refresh yourself for the long run here. So here's the first pitch. Strike, sweeper on the outside corner to Otto Lopez, the shortstop, who's hitting .318 with a home run, 2 RBIs so far in 6 games this year. Warren, the right-hander, looks in, and the 0-1 pitch. That's another strike, sinker, outside corner. And the count is now 0-2 to the shortstop, Lopez. Wil Warren sets at the belt. Time is granted by the home plate umpire for Lopez. And we wait to go and do it all again. 2-1 Yankees here, top of the second inning. Wil Warren comes set, and the pitch. A sweeper well out and away and out of the zone, and the count is 1-2. And guess what? This is all sponsored by the New York Lottery. Who would have guessed? All right, Wil Warren back on the bump, on the rubber. He looks in, and the 1-2 pitch. Fly ball out to right field, tailing towards the stand, and it is well foul, landing just before the stands, but the count remains 1-2. 19 pitches so far from our friend Wil Warren on the afternoon. Working to get ahead. He winds, and the 1-2 pitch. Fastball well up and in to Lopez, even the count out at 2-2. That was one of those high pitches that I don't necessarily think there was intent, but it definitely has effect, right? Believe me, anytime you have a ball that's coming at have a baseball going at your head at that speed, you don't forget it. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Well outside, sinker, and the count is full 3-2 to the righty Lopez. And that's something we're seeing so far right now with Wil Warren is, we're getting a lot of full counts early here. And here's the 3-2 pitch. Swinging strike 3. Swung right through a four-seam fastball up and in, and that is the first out of the inning. So he just muscled that baby right by him. You can see it here on the replay. He easily swung 1.5 inches, 2 right underneath that four-seamer. And now we have Owen Casey, the right fielder, batting .350 so far with a home run and 8 RBIs. And the first pitch from Warren, breaking ball outside to the left-handed hitting Casey. And the count is a 1-0. So far, what can you say? You punch, they punched, we punched back. That's where it's at. Looking in is Wil Warren. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fastball once again up and away and out of the zone, and the count is now 2-1. 171 strikeouts last season, more than a strikeout in innings, second most by a Yankees rookie all time. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Outside, looks like a sinker going away from the left-handed hitting Casey, and the count is now 3-0. And at this point, you got to imagine Casey's taking all the way, right? Let him show you. Let him show you can get a strike in there. Come set is Warren, the 3-0. Strike, fastball, outside corner, and the count is 3-1, taken all the way. Now, here's Casey. He's definitely in a hitter's count. He's more than happy to try to mash on this one. Wil Warren looks in the 3-1 pitch. Fouled straight back behind the plate and out of play, and the count is once again full 3-2. Owen Casey, 23 years old, second-round pick by the Pods. He's number 43 prospect in Major League Baseball, according to Baseball America. How about that? Wil Warren looks in for the 3-2 pitch. He deals. Foul down the third base side and out of play, and the count remains 3-2. So, Wil Warren, once again, this pitch count's coming up. So, you hope he can get further than the 4 1/3 that he had last week out in San Francisco. But, hey, you'll take any quality innings you can get. Warren looks in. He winds in the 3-2 pitch. Popped on up over to the left side. Giving chase is McMahon. He calls for it right at the line, and that is the second out of the inning. Easy fly ball tracked down by Ryan McMahon at third. He was shaded a bit more towards second, so he had a little bit of a run, but easily tracked it down. Now comes the first baseman, Connor Norby, who's batting 176, no home runs and an RBI so far through 5 games. We have 2 outs here, 2-1 Yankees in the top of the second inning. The pitch looks like a four-seam fastball outside to the right-handed hitting Norby, and the count is 1-0. So Wil Warren's trying to attack, but here's the 1-0 pitch. Fouled back behind the plate and out of play. Count is 1-1. When Wil Warren has been throwing it on in, he's just been missing by this much. Really, this is very much a game of inches and fractions of an inch now with ABS, to be sure. Now he looks in. The 1-1 pitch to the righty Norby. Swinging strike right on through the four-seam fastball at 94 miles per hour on the outside corner. And the count is 1-2. And we have 2 outs here in the top of the second inning. 2-1 Yankees here in the home opener. 32 pitches so far for Warren. The Yankee Stadium crowd is giving some buzz. He looks in. And the 1-2 pitch. Fastball well up and into the right-hander. And the count comes even at 2-2. So even though Warren has been missing here from time to time, a lot of deep counts, he is absolutely attacking every hitter that he has faced so far today. Now Warren winds, and the 2-2 pitch, strike 3, and that'll do it. So good morning, good afternoon, good night. Nothing across from Miami, going to the bottom of the second inning here with a 2-1 Yankee lead in the home opener, and this is Bombers Game Mic. Oh boy. I tell you, folks, it's really one of those things where this game can move so fast now with the game clock. Sometimes I even forget that it's there, even though I really actually do appreciate how it's picked up the pace of the game. And from a broadcasting point of view, especially when you're doing it, well, if I were to call it anyway, Vin Scully style, which is solo booth, right? You don't have to have all the filler all the time. So, hey, it is what it is. And right now, the Yankees are cruising into the bottom of the second inning. Jazz Chisholm is, of course, due up for the Yankees in the 6th hole this afternoon. And Jazz, I'll tell you what, he really is just in the middle of everything, isn't he? He really is, in so many ways, certainly in spirit and certainly in talent. He hit over 30 home runs last year. That guy is born to be a Yankee. They're just some guys you just know they can handle it. They can handle it, and they are totally themselves and comfortable out in the spotlight. Jazz Chisholm Jr. is one of those guys in the extreme. Really incredible to watch, all told. So, here we are. And trying to get through some more of these wonderful commercials on the part of our friends over at Yes. And we are back for the bottom of the second inning. Eury Perez out for his second inning of work. 2-1 Yankees here in the bottom of the second inning. And the second baseman, Jazz Chisholm, is digging in. Only 174 so far in this early campaign. But he'll find his way. You never worried about Jazz Chisholm, truly, not at the best. Here's the first pitch to Jazz. Breaking ball inside to the left-hander, and the count is 1-0. And right now, Jazz is he's looking relaxed, even despite the numbers. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Breaking ball down and in to the left-handed hitting Jazz, and the count is 2-0. 25 pitches here in the early innings for Perez, just in case you're wondering. Perez looks in for the sign, and the 2-0 pitch hit to the right side, and it is a foul ball. A foul ball. That thing just missed going down the line there by Chisholm, and all it was, unfortunately, a very loud strike. We do what we can, folks. We do what we can to entertain. So, time has been granted by the home plate umpire Chisholm gets back there into the left-handed batter's box, digging back in. It's a 2-1 count, nobody out. 2-1 Yankees here in the bottom of the second inning here at the home opener. And the 2-1 from Perez. Breaking ball just outside to the left-handed hitting Chisholm. And the count is now 3-1. Now, putting him on again is definitely a bad recipe because that's how he got screwed the first time in the first inning after walking Trent Grisham leadoff. Here's a 3-1 pitch. Breaking ball inside, fastball inside, and that is the lead-off walk for the Yankees here in the bottom of the second inning. So, Jazz Chisholm takes his base. The Yankees have a runner on first, nobody out for my boy, the catcher behind the dish, Austin Wells. And this is really not the time, guys, for the earlier interview with Meredith. Now, the first pitch to Wells fouled straight back to the screen behind home plate. The count is 0-1. And, so far, the Yankees have been patient. Not everything's fallen in except for that Judgian blast back in the first. I think that thing is still flying. My goodness. You should get Flyermeyers for that. And the 0-1 pitch to Austin fouled once again behind the plate and out of play, and the count is 0-2. Austin Wells so far, 188, no home runs, no RBIs, 423 OPS over 5 games. And while he has a bat, he is absolutely there to anchor this rotation, and the Yankees are very fortunate. Leading off first to Chisholm, and now the 0-2 pitch he deals well outside, a changeup down and away over the right-handed hitting batter's box to the left-handed hitting Wells, and the count is 1-2. And Jazz is over there looking for an opening, right? He's always looking for an opening. Perez comes set at the belt, and he deals. And it is a play down to second, and Jazz takes second with tremendous ease. That is a stolen base by Jazz Chisholm. And, of course, it is a ball on the part of Perez. And the count, of course, is now 2-2. So the Yankees have a runner at second on the part of Jazz Chisholm, who just swept it by an absolute mile. Perez just completely was daydreaming on Jazz Chisholm over there. And Jazz was waiting for it. He's here for it. So runner on second, nobody out. Here's a 2-2 to Austin Wells. Perez comes set at the belt, and the 2-2 pitch. Strike 3. It looks like might have fouled it, tipped back into the catcher's glove, and that is the first out of the inning for the Yankees. However, Jazz Chisholm here is in scoring position with less than 2 outs. Here's the shortstop, Jose Caballero. 190, no home runs, an RBI, and a 418 OPS. He's played all 6 games so far this year. Jazz leads off second. Caballero gets into the box. Perez looks in. And the first pitch to Caballero, a ball, a changeup down and away to the right-handed hitting shortstop, I should say. And the count is 1-0. Looking in is Perez for the sign. He comes set, and the 1-0 pitch. And taken down to third is Chisholm, and he swipes third this time around. Oh, boy. 2 stolen bases. Perez, he has just been running all over him. So now a fly ball or a ground ball will equate an out here with less than 2 outs on the part, thanks to the speed and base running of Jazz Chisholm. He is creating a run with his 2 feet without anybody hitting a baseball yet. Now, the 1-1 pitch to Caballero. Swinging strike right through that 4-seamer on the outside corner. Count is now 1-2. 1-2, I repeat. On deck, we have Ryan McMahon in the 9-hole. Perez looks in for the sign. He's ahead in the count, 1-2. He looks in. From the stretch, he deals. That is a sweeper down and away into the left-handed hitting batter's box. Brought in nicely from the catcher. And the count is 2-2. So if you're Caballero right here, you're just looking to make contact. Just make some decent contact, and you'll get yourself a run. Simple as that. That's what good teams do. They take the opportunities that they're given. In the case of Jazz Chisholm, the opportunities they're making themselves right now. So coming set once again is Perez on the rubber. He comes set just above the belt. And the 2-2 to the shortstop. Outside four-seam fastball just over the left-handed hitting batter's box. And the count is full 3-2 to Caballero. And we've talked about this before. Right now, Caballero has a very straightforward mission. Nail down shortstop defensively, and everything you do beyond that with a bat is amazing. Let's see what happens here. Now, here's a 3-2 pitch. Ball four, well and away. So, Yankees now have runners on first and third with one out here in the bottom of the second inning. Something might be cooking. And now coming to the plate is the left-hander, Ryan McMahon, who has not exactly been pretty over 6 games, a 0.67 average so far. He really has not shown much with the bat yet, but once again, that's not the reason they got him. I think we all pretty readily recognize that at this point. So, they are bringing in the infield. The infielders are about even with the bag here with runners on first and third and one out here in the bottom of the second inning. And the first pitch to McMahon, there it goes towards second. Caballero, there's the play. Nowhere close. He swipes second on the play. So the Yankees now have runners on second and third. And one out here. A 1-0 count as it was a ball. Yeah, Perez has just had no luck at all or is even making any attempt to hold the runners. Now the Marlins are bringing in the infield, Shirley, with one out here to try to stop any sort of line ball. And the 1-0 pitch to McMahon. Looks like a sweeper down and in for a ball. And the count is 2-0. So far between Jazz Chisholm and Jose Caballero, the Yankees have just been running all over Miami and Eury Perez so far. It's been something to behold, let's put it that way. Perez at above the belt. And he looks in, the 2-0 pitch. Looks like a lined and fouled down the first base side. Wasn't nearly as close as many of us would like, but them's the breaks. The count is 2-1 to the lefty McMahon. And so far, 42 pitches through 1 1/3 innings for Eury Perez. He's definitely working up that pitch count. See how long he sticks around. We'll go from there. McMahon has dug in. Eury Perez is set just above the belt. And he looks in on the 2-1 pitch. And that is a pop-up back and behind the plate and out of play. And the count is now 2-0. So, one out here in the bottom of the second inning. Runners on second and third. A 2-2 count to McMahon. 2-1 Yankees. They have a runner on second and third. 2 runners in scoring position. If you're looking to get through this year offensively and you're Ryan McMahon, this is probably a pretty good place to start. Perez from the stretch. He looks in. Holding, and here's the 2-2. Down and in, and a ball. And there's the bluff throw to third. And the count is now 3-2. So McMahon has brought the count full. They are definitely piling on the pressure there on the young Eury Perez. He's looking in for the sign. Runners on second and third, 1 out, 2-1 Yankees here in the bottom of the second inning. And time is called by the home plate umpire, granted by McMahon. Perez was taken too long out there up on the rubber. And Perez looks in for the sign. He comes set. And the 3-2 to McMahon. Ball 4 down and in. And the Yankees now have the bases loaded and 1 out for the center fielder, the left-handed hitting Trent Grisham. And if you're Trent Grisham right here, how could you not hope and pray to end up in this situation? I mean, given your offensive struggles in the spring, had some decent at-bats so far in the first 6 games. I'm not gonna rob him of that. But the bases are juiced. It is the bottom of the second. There's only 1 out. In fact, you only need to hit a decent fly ball to get that runner in from third with Jazz out there. You know, he can beat a lot of throws in Major League Baseball. And, of course, Mosquez, the pitching coach is out on the mound having a conference with Perez, probably just trying to cool him off, break up the momentum that he's been having. You know how it can be. Especially with a young pitcher, sometimes you can get rattled, especially in a stage as big as the Yankee home opener here in 2026 this afternoon. But all the same, he is in all sorts of trouble. And of course, Trent Grisham scored a run today after a lead-off walk back in the first inning, and he scored on that mammoth home run by Aaron Judge, which left us here at 2-1. So, bottom of the second inning, 1 out, bases loaded, 2-1 Yankees. Grisham's at the plate. Perez comes set. First pitch to Grisham. Strike. Looks like a slider on the inside corner to the left-hander, and the count is 0-1. And once again, you have the corners in there about even with the bag. Second and short, a little drifted back. Definitely trying to defend at anything right on. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Swinging strike, swung right on through that thing over roughly the outside corner, almost middle on the part of Perez. And he is now ahead 0-2 to the center fielder, Trent Grisham. And first and third, even with the bag. The shortstop there is actually right on the grass, shaded just to the left field side of second. But there's definitely a hole out there. Now, here comes the 0-2 pitch to Grisham. Perez looks in, and the 0-2 pitch. Look at that fastball well out and away. Nowhere close, and the count is 1-2. When he brought that in, it was flying right over the right-handed hitter's batter's box. It wasn't close. So, things are grinding and moving a bit slower here with a lot of action so far. Here's Perez. He looks in, and the 1-2 pitch. Well inside, four-seam fastball, and the count evens out at 2-2. So Perez has definitely been having some control problems, to say the least, and the Yankees have been working him every which way. They are waiting for him to throw their pitch, and Trent Grisham is more than capable of finding that. Base loaded, 1 out, the pitch. Down and in a slider, and the count is now full, 3-2 to Trent Grisham. So one more ball will force in a run. Jazz Chisholm, who found his way over there on his own after a pair of stolen bases earlier in the inning. Of course, Caballero stole one himself. Now, come set is Perez, and the 3-2 pitch. Ball 4, and the Yankees have their third run of the day. Oh, a walk with the bases loaded. So that is an RBI for Grisham, and it is a 3-1 Yankee lead here in the home opener with 1 out in the bottom of the second inning. And right now, it's hard to imagine that Perez is going to be too long for the game at this point. Now, with the bases loaded, still only 1 out, the reigning AL MVP, the magnificent right-hander, our collective hero, Aaron Judge. He digs in with the bases loaded, 1 out here, 3-1 Yankees, bottom of the second. The first pitch to Judge. Did it get him? It did, and that'll force in a run. Yep, got plunked right there, it looks like on the left elbow, and that is now a 4-1 Yankee lead. I believe that is also an RBI. Unfortunately, it was Judge who got hit and not the ball. He seems to be okay, but he's moving slowly. You know, they're going to look out after him as much as possible, but he's not going to give way. So 52 pitches so far for Perez so far, and yeah, it looks like it got his right elbow. I can't tell if it got on any sort of protection there along the way, but he is awarded first base, and here comes the left-hander, Cody Bellinger. Oh, no, it looks like it got him on the right pec. Ooh, that's going to be black and blue later. So the bases loaded, 4-1 Yankees, still only 1 out. Here is Bellinger. And the 1-0 pitch. Grounded to the left side, fielded is the third baseman, forces home. And that will be the only out of the play. So the bases are still loaded. And of course, Caballero is out on the force, throwing home there. And the bases are still loaded with 2 outs. 4-1 Yankees here in the bottom of the second inning. There is left-handed pitching bullpen action out there for Miami. And now here is the first baseman, the lefty Ben Rice, digging in. And the first pitch to Rice, it looks like a sweeper in for a ball. And the count is 1-0. So, yeah, that's basically where it is at this point. Bases loaded, 2 out, a 1-0 count to the big left-hander Ben Rice. Perez comes set, and the 1-0 pitch looks like a check swing. Did he go around, says the third base umpire? Yes, he did, Blue says down the line. And the count is 1-1. So if you're just joining us, this has been a very, very long bottom of the second inning, and the Yankees have simply just been grinding it out. Not much hard has been hit, or hit hard for that matter. Now the 1-1 pitch to Rice. Strike almost right down the middle. Looks like a abbreviated sweeper. And is this an ABS we're calling here? Let us see, because we seem to have some time here. Yep, we got the ABS. The Yankees are challenging it, and the call is confirmed. It was indeed a strike. So they lose their first challenge for ABS on the day, and now both teams only have one for the remaining regulation 9 here this afternoon. So it's a 1-2 count, 2 outs here, bases loaded, 4-1 Yankees. And the 1-2 pitch to Rice, well out and away, a changeup, basically over the right-handed hitter's batter's box. And the count is now 2-2. And you know Rice at this point is just looking for one he can absolutely mash, because Perez has to throw a strike here. I don't care who you are, that's the idea. Now the 2-2 from Perez, the pitch, and tap foul behind the plate and out of play, and the count is 2-2. So, like I said, if you're just joining us, this has been one heck of a bottom of the second inning so far. Nothing hit hard, but they've been finding their way. Perez looks in. He comes set at the belt. And the 2-2 pitch from Rice, swinging strike 3. And that will do it. So Perez is now out of trouble. But the Yankees, they threaten, and they add 2 more. It is 4-1 Yankees here after 2. We'll be back for the top of the third inning here on Bombers Game Mic. Okay. Boy, oh boy. When you have that much action to call all at once, folks, nothing like it. Nothing like it. And no, I am not drinking on the middle of a Friday afternoon, even though you definitely could at this point. It's a holiday, right? Nope. Caffeine up. Caffeine right up. So, Wil Warren, of course, is coming off of a pretty extended break there in the dugout after, I don't even know, you can call them fireworks at the moment, right? Because nothing got hit hard. But they still put 2 on the board, and I'm curious to see if they bring out Perez for the bottom of the third inning, just because, you know, he threw somewhere around 60 pitches and all of that, and a very strenuous 60 pitches that over 2 innings. So, you know, they may choose to protect their young right-hander, who has definitely not had his best stuff today. You know, he's facing a very chippy Yankee lineup. Who knows how to put runs on the board, to say the least. My goodness. So, but hey, 4-1 Yankees here going in the top of the third inning in the home opener. So far, this is kind of how you draw it up. At least that's how I draw it up. But hey, you let me know, right? Yes. All right. We are back for the top of the third inning. Wil Warren coming out for his third frame this afternoon. And just in case you're wondering, Delta is sponsoring all of this. And the first pitch from Warren. Strike sweeper, outside corner to the left-handed hitting left fielder, Griffin Conine, who is hitting .400 so far with a home run, 2 RBIs, 1255 OPS over the first 5 games of the season. Here's the 0-1 from Warren. Breaking ball, a sweeper well outside to the left-handed hitter. The count is 1-1. God, I remember watching his dad play. We'll get into that in a moment. Warren looks in, and here's the 1-1 pitch. Fouled back right behind the plate and out of play, and the count is 1-2. Now, what's going on here? There you go. Little delay. Warren's 1-2 pitch to Conine. The changeup well out and away and out of the zone. And the count is now 2-2. Yes. Conine digs in, has a big open stance, clearly looking for the ball away. Loves to pull it. Here's the 2-2. They look foul tip, comes right out in front of the mound, fielded by Warren, throws to first over to Rice, and he is out. It is for the first out of the inning. You can score that 1-3 in your scorecard for you fantastic baseball nerds calling and scoring the game at home. Here comes Graham Pauley, the third baseman, 231 so far this year with only an RBI, 615 OPS. He is the 9-hitter today, in addition to playing third base. First pitch from Warren. Just outside, fastball to the left-handed hitting Pauley. And the count is 0-1. So 4-1 Yankees here in the top of the third inning. A lot of fun so far here in the Yankee home opener. Warren looks in, the 1-0. Strike, fastball, outside corner to the left-handed hitting Pauley. And the count is 1-1. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Warren comes in, and he deals. Fly ball out to right field, drifting back towards the pole. Underneath it is Judge, and he catches it right in front of the warning track for the second out of the inning. So it looked like that thing had more life on it right off the bat than it ultimately did. But ultimately, it really just kind of died right there, going towards the corner, but still very much on the grass, maybe a step or two in front of the warning track behind Judge in either direction. Now, Marcy is up. He's 0 for 1 on the day. First pitch, fastball out well and away. Four-seam fastball, 93 miles an hour to the left-handed hitting Marcy. 2 outs here in the top of the third inning. Warren looks in. He deals. Fly ball out to center field. Charging in is Grisham. He calls for it. He's underneath it, and that will do it. So 1, 2, 3, go Miami. And after 2.5 innings, it is 4-1 Yankees here in the home opener. I'm Paul DiCostanzo, and this is Bombers Game Mike. Yeah. That's one thing you have to say right now that was really nice on the part of Wil Warren, which is he was given even more of a lead after basically sitting down for about almost 15 or 20 minutes with that bottom of the second inning, and he just got right back down to work. 1, 2, 3, put the Marlins right back out there at position, get the Yankees right back there in the batter's box here going to the bottom of the third. This is one of those games, folks, at least early on, right? And if you're a baseball fan, for the most part, you're into these kind of things so long as it's going your way. I see that. I've lived that. We're all friends here. What can we say? So we're waiting here for the bottom of the third inning. Got to keep caffeine up. Oh, yeah. I'll tell you, folks. Great headphones will overheat you in no time. A little break in the fourth wall here, but as I like to say, we're all friends here, and this is one friendly afternoon so far for the Bombers, say the least. And boy, I wish I was there if I didn't have the pleasure of being here. All right, here we go, bottom of the third inning. This will be fun. Stanton, Chisholm, and Wells due up. And Stanton, he's just always looking to mash, right? Guy's incredible. I mean, I know his injury issues. I know he's not a great left fielder, but boy, the thing he does well is get up to that plate and he does it with no excuses. Really just a pleasure. Eury Perez is, in fact, back in for the bottom of the third inning. He's at the wind, and the first pitch to Stanton. It is fouled, chopped down the third base side and out of play, and the count is 0-1. Stanton 0 for 1 for a ground out in the first, 476 so far this year with a home run, 4 RBIs. That home run was on Game 2 out in San Francisco. And the 0-1 pitch to Stanton. Well, fastball well up and into the right-hander. Count evens out at 1-1. Perez is still clearly having control issues here at the moment, and Stanton is definitely not going to be doing him any favors. He looks in for the sign, and the 1-1 pitch. Swinging strike, swings right on through that, looks like a sweeper that Stanton swung just underneath, and the count is now 1-2. 4-1 Yankees here in the bottom of the third inning. Perez looks in. He winds. The pitch. Fouled out behind the plate, down the first base side, and out of play. And the count remains 1-2 to Giancarlo. So, we'll see if Perez can stay with it here. He's thrown 63 pitches so far. He winds in the 1-2 pitch. That is a pop-up out to shallow center field. Calling it is the shortstop. He brings it in, does Lopez, and that is the first out of the inning. So, shallow fly ball there brought in by the Miami shortstop, and that'll be the first out of the inning. Next coming up is Jazz Chisholm, who, if you can remember, was the guy that got it all started back in the bottom of the second inning. So he's coming back up today after a leadoff walk last time. Perez looks in, Jazz digs in, and the first pitch to Chisholm, fouled back behind the plate and out of play. Count is 0-1. Yep, walked in the second, a couple stolen bases, 174 with an RBI and 414, but that doesn't really tell you the whole story, does it? If you've been here since the beginning, you know what I'm talking about. Perez looks in, and the 0-1 to Jazz, hit down the right field line, and it is a fair ball and into the corner. It rattles around, fielded by the right fielder, throwing in, and Jazz is sliding in for a double, a one-out double here in the bottom of the third inning on the part of Jazz Chisholm. So, yeah, you're looking in on the pitch here, and it looks like it was a sweeper down and in right in that classic lefty wheelhouse, and Jazz just basically dropped the barrel on the thing and sent it rolling down the right field line. And, you know, it was played about as cleanly as you could hope under the circumstances. That can be a weird corner sometimes. But Jazz Chisholm, you know, he didn't even really need to slide into second. He just chose to do so. It was basically, in spirit, a stand-up double, if not in reality. Now, here is Austin Wells, the 7-hitter, and the first pitch of the catcher. Fastball inside to the left-hander. The count is 1-0. And you think Jazz is considering going with one out here in the bottom of the third inning, try to swipe third? This is one of the few times that you can actually justify it. So, coming set is Perez to Wells, the 1-0 pitch. Fly ball out to right field, drifting back to right fielder right at the lip of the track. He's under it. Tagging is Chisholm into third, and he slides in with a sac fly. So, while it may have been an out, and there's no question that it was, and a long fly out, Jazz Chisholm manages to get over the third. He has been a one-man show today. All with his legs, all with his instincts, all with his natural talent, and it has been incredible. He is amazing to watch sometimes. He just, let's put it this way, he knows what it means to have the vibes going, right? Now, here's the first pitch to Caballero from Perez from the stretch. He deals. Fastball up and away to the right-handed hitting Yankee shortstop. And the count is 1-0. Caballero walked in the second, scored a run. Of course, he stole second on the back of the pair of stolen bases from Jazz Chisholm. Looking in his Perez, here's the 1-0. Shows bunt, and it's right there out in front of home, throwing over to first, and he got him. So it was an attempted suicide squeeze on the part of Jazz Chisholm and Jose Caballero, but unfortunately they got nothing to show for it. Cheers for the attempt. So A one-out double from Chisholm. Manages to get over to third, but that is just not enough. Going to the top of the fourth inning, it is 4-1 Yankees here in the home opener, and this is Bombers Game Mike. Oh, yeah. Here we are. Oh, boy. Like I said, not drinking in the middle of the day, but definitely caffeine up for it. It's one of those afternoons where you really have to be on your toes. Calling this thing, you call a pitcher's duel, and that's kind of its own pleasure, right? But there's nothing like when there's just almost constant excitement going on. It really just makes the time fly, really. But, yeah, and this game now is a little over an hour old going to the top of the fourth, so, a fairly long inning for modern baseball, to say the least. But you know what? If you're a Yankee fan right now with a 4-1 lead going to the top of the fourth, you're going to take it, folks. I know I am. Yes. And boy, there's nothing like sitting through one Google advertisement after another on MLB.tv. Yes, I'm going to break the fourth wall occasionally, all for it. But it's been a good day so far. And, Miami has not allowed this thing to get out of hand yet. And you also have to credit Wil Warren for, essentially doing a really fine job so far. He got a lead. He got out, the first time through. He got more of a lead. They patted on. He put him down 1-2-3 after that. So he's coming out for his fourth inning of work this afternoon here at the Cathedral. The first pitch. Ball outside corner. It looks like a sinker out and away to the left-handed hitting Xavier Edwards, the second baseman. Hitting the 2 slot. Here's the 1-0 pitch. And as a fly ball down the left field line, charging over is Bellinger. He's towards the line. He makes the catch for the first out of the inning right there, right in front of the line. And that will be the first out of the inning. Now, here comes the DH. Agustin Ramirez is 0 for 1 with a strikeout back in the first, hitting 176 so far this season. The very young season, of course. Wil Warren is back on the bump. He looks in. And the first pitch to Ramirez. Fastball, strike, outside corner, four-seamer, 92 miles an hour from Wil Warren. Wil Warren, 47 pitches so far here today, and he's doing a fine job of it. Now, the 0-1 pitch. Grounded to the third base. No, grounded short. Fielded by Caballero. Throws to first, and that is the second out of the inning. So 2 very quick outs here on the part of Miami. And that will bring up the very hot Liam Hicks, who's 0 for 1 with a flyout back in the first. He's hitting .438 so far in this early season. So you definitely can't sleep on him. I don't care who you are. And Wil Warren so far, 48 pitches, it seems. And he's been very, very workmanlike. Not a lot of showmanship, but getting the job done, to say the least. Now, the first pitch to Hicks. Fastball outside to the left-handed hitter. The count is 1-0 with 2 outs here in the top of the fourth inning. 4-1 Yankees so far here in this beautiful home opener. Comes to the wind as Warren, the 1-0. Foul down the third base side and out of play. And the count is 1-1. And something you got to give credit to Warren for here is he is legitimately attacking the zone, and he's getting better at it as he's going along today. Warren comes set, and the 1-1 pitch. Strike, that looks like a sinker down and away over the outside corner to the left-handed hitting Hicks. And the count is 1-2. So Wil Warren 1 strike away from getting through this top of the fourth inning here in the Bronx. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Hit right up the middle. Fielded by Caballero. Throws to first, and that will do it. So 1, 2, 3 goes Miami. They have 1 run on 1 hit, no errors. The Yankees 4 runs on 2 hits, no errors. And we go to the bottom of the fourth inning. Caballero, in that case, was actually shaded almost precisely up the middle. He was almost right behind second when he fielded that one clean throw over to Ben Rice. However, we go to the bottom of the fourth inning, 4-1 Yankees. I'm Paul DiCostanzo, and this is Bombers Game Mic. Beautiful stuff, folks. Beautiful stuff. Now, Wil Warren, he's really settling down here, right? He's only one out recorded away from matching his distance back in San Francisco. And, pretty impressive stuff. The Yankees give him the lead, and he's been protecting it. He has been the enforcer on the rubber this afternoon out in the Bronx. Yeah, and this is definitely one of those nicer and kind of classic early April days in New York City, you can tell. Wonderful day to see a ball game under most circumstances, I would say. So, hey, what more can we add to that, right? The Yankees so far have been in control. And Wil Warren at this point, if he's able to put together another economical inning in the top of the fifth, it'd be nice to save some of those bullpen arms a little bit, all right? Get a little bit of distance here from what is effectively, at this point, the Yankees' three-starter. That would be a pretty big deal. All righty. So we're coming back here now for the bottom of the fourth inning, with some snazzy graphics there on the part of for Ryan McMahon. Some of them personal information, stuff you throw out there that's just kind of filler between innings. If you watch baseball, you know this. There's always so much time to kill. Eury Perez is actually out for his fourth inning of work, and here is the first pitch to McMahon. Ball outside corner. The count is 1-0, and he walked back in the second inning. Not had much to show for it this year with the bat, but he's the top-flight third baseman. Here's the 1-0 pitch from Perez. Fouled down the third base side and out of play. The count is 1-1 to Ryan McMahon. And so he's digging in there. Perez has 72 pitches here through basically 3+ innings at this point. He looks in for the sign, and he deals. Fastball up and away to the left-handed hitting McMahon. And the count is now 2-1. So 4-1 Yankees here in the bottom of the fourth inning. All of that coming off of the first and second inning fireworks. Here's the 2-1 to McMahon. Fastball once again up and away. And the count is now 3-1 to the sure-gloved third baseman for the Yankees. And mostly four-seamers today on the part of Perez. Even sliders and sweepers. Here's the pitch. Fouled back behind the plate and out of play. And the count is now full 3-2 to McMahon. And this really has been the Yankee formula here today, which is just keep going to these full counts against Perez. Make him consistently work. He has to earn everything. And that's what a good professional hitting lineup is going to do. Now, Perez looks in for the 3-2. And here's the pitch. Fastball out well and away. Another leadoff walk on the part of Eury Perez, this case in the person of Ryan McMahon. And the Yankees have a runner on first, nobody out. And here's Trent Grisham up for his third at-bat today. He has walked twice. He has a run and an RBI when he walked back in the second. From the stretch is Perez. And the first pitch to Grisham. Check swing. Did he go around? Yes, he did, says the home plate umpire. The count is 0-1. And a couple of big walks today on the part of Trent Grisham. He'll take it, but he definitely wants to get behind one here, to say the least. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Breaking ball, a curveball strike outside corner to Trent Grisham. The count is 0-2. And you can tell Perez looks a little bit more comfortable, but the fact of the matter is he just issued a leadoff walk. And there's a reason why that is really just one of the mortal sins of baseball when you're pitching. Very good. Very little good comes from issuing leadoff walks if your team is on the field. Perez comes set just above the belt. He looks in. The 0-2 pitch to Grisham. Hit right up the middle. Fielding is a second baseman. Steps on second. One on to first. Double play. So, unfortunately, the leadoff walk is erased by Trent Grisham, who grounds out into a double play. And that'll be 2 outs here in the bottom of the 4th inning for the Bombers. Coming up to the plate is the Yankee right fielder, Aaron Judge, who has a 2-run home run today, a hit by pitch, 3 RBIs so far. Pretty darn impressive. Now the first pitch to Judge from Perez. Strike, fastball, outside corner. Count is 0-1. And Judge is just kind of sitting back waiting for it. They got a right-hander up in the pen should things go awry. I think this will probably be the last inning for Perez based on the pitch count. Here's the 0-1 to Judge. Swinging strike right on through that thing. It was a 4-seam fastball down and in, clocked in at 99 miles per hour. Boy, that is a live pitch right there. Judge stands in for the 0-2 pitch. Comes set. Does Perez on the hill. He winds in the pitch. Foul down the first base side and out of play. The count remains 0-2 to Aaron Judge. And really, at this point, this has really probably been the cleanest inning so far for Perez so far today. He comes set from the wind, and the 0-2 pitch to Judge in the dirt. Looks like a changeup. Bounced right out in front of home plate there. And count is 1-2. So that's impressive. That's a thing. That's going on. And Judge steps right back in the box. Ramirez winds and deals. Strike 3 swung right on through the sweeper, and that will do it. So we go to the top of the 5th inning. Yankees go 1-2-3 with the double play and strikeout. And it is 4-1 Yankees after 4 here on Bombers Game Mic. Goodness gracious, folks. Goodness gracious. So, yeah, this is what we're doing here. And, this has really been just about as good a home opener as the Yankees could ever want to draw up, right? There's a lot of game left to play. We know this. And right here is going to be a rather pivotal inning for Wil Warren. If he can make this economical, he could make this a lot easier for the Yankees in the bullpen here in the later innings. But, they're coming off an off day, and nobody has been overtaxed at this point. Obviously David Bednar's had he's been out there a fair amount. In fact, this is his first Yankees home opener since the Yankees picked him up mid-season out of Pittsburgh. And, that was a great move by Brian Cashman. Really, just extremely impressive stuff. And for the most part, he's been really good. Not perfect. I mean, if you lived through Mariano Rivera, nothing will ever quite match that again, right? Just one of those guys that just seems to have a gift from the heavens, basically a cutter that is the equivalent of it being thrown by the Greek gods. But you know what? We know what we had, and we enjoyed every moment of it. But that was a long time ago now. If you can believe it, if you are of such an age, Mariano retired 13 years ago. It doesn't feel like 13 years. At least it doesn't to me. But you still remember it. Because, at the end of the day, he's always been my number one guy. I've always been a big Mariano homer. Wil Warren's up for his 5th inning work. The pitch. Strike, fastball, outside corner to the right-handed hitting Lopez. And the count is 0-1 here in the top of the 5th inning. 4-1 Yankees over Miami so far. Wil Warren, 53 pitches. And it looks like we have a Marlins challenge. And it looks like their challenge has succeeded. The ball missed by 0.1 inches. So the count is over. The call is overturned. And count is now 1-0. Looking in is Warren. The 1-0 to Lopez. Sweeper just down and away. And the count is 2-0 to Otto Lopez. Otto Lopez is obviously 0 for 1 today with a strikeout in the second. Manning shortstop for Miami. Here's the 2-0 pitch from Warren. A sinker well down and away from the right-hander. And the count is now 3-0. So one ABS challenge left for both sides here in regulation. Here's the 3-0 pitch. Strike, fastball, outside corner from Warren. A four-seam fastball clocked at 92 miles per hour. And the count goes to 3-1. And you have to imagine Lopez is looking for something to hit here out the 3-1 leading off. Here's the pitch. Strike, sinker, outside corner, and the count is now full 3-2. And that's something that Wil Warren has done very well so far today, is just battle back in counts. Doesn't do great things for your pitch count, but right now his pitch count is pretty darn manageable at 57 pitches so far this afternoon here on the top of the fifth inning. Full count to Lopez and the 3-2 pitch. Strike three, looking at the sinker on the outside corner, and that will be the first out of the inning. And yes, that is an absolutely beautiful sinker, maybe two-seam fastball right out there over the outside corner. Just really whispered over the outside corner of the plate. So that's one out here in the top of the fifth inning. Now, Casey is up. The pitch, fastball outside corner to the left-handed hitting Casey, first baseman this afternoon. Count is 1-0, and Casey, of course, is 0 for 1 so far today. Now, here's the 1-0 pitch. Ball outside. A sweeper on the part of Wil Warren, and the count is 2-0. Wil Warren looks in from the side, and the pitch fouled down the third base side and out of play. And count is 2-1. We have one out here in the top of the fifth inning. 4-1 Yankees here so far in the home opener. Casey's 0 for 1 today on the day. Wil Warren looks in, and he deals the 2-1 pitch. That is a fly ball out to right field. Drifting back is Judge out in front of the wall, and it is gone. A solo home run on the part of Casey. And it is now a 4-2 Yankee lead. So that thing was a low liner all the way. It got out of here 106.2 exit velo on the part of Casey there. It was really just kind of a no-doubter. I mean, you could have hung your laundry on it. That's just how much of a liner it really was in a lot of ways. It did not have much by way of hang time, but it had all the distance it needs. So 4-3 Yankees here in the top of the fifth inning on the power of Casey's solo home run here with one out. And yep, bleachers throw it on back. Now the first pitch to Norby. Ground ball on the left side, fielded by Caballero. He throws to first in time for the second out of the inning. So one pitch, one out to Norby there. You can score that 6-3 in your playbook. And it is now 2 outs here in the top of the fifth inning. And, it's in fact a 4-2 Yankee lead, I believe. Bring that on back. 4-2. And here's the pitch. Strike, fastball, outside corner. 2-1 Griffin Conine. And the count is 0-1. 4-2 Yankees. Marlins have both of their runs by virtue of a pair of solo jobs. Here's the pitch. Changeup down and away and out of the zone to the left-handed hitting Conine, and the count is 1-1. 2 outs here in the top of the fifth inning. 65 pitches so far for Warren. Conine is 0 for 1 on the afternoon. And here's the 1-1 pitch. Foul back behind the plate and out of play, and the count is 1-2. So, for all corrections, 4-2 Yankees here in the top of the fifth inning. Warren looks in for the pitch, and the 1-2. Changeup down and away and well out of the zone, and the count is 2-2. So even though Wil Warren has not been perfect today, a couple of long balls, at the very least, there are a pair of solo jobs. That's kind of what you want. And here's the 2-2 pitch. Strike three, looking in the observatory is Conine, and that will do it. So a solo home run, and it is now 4-2 Yankees going to the bottom of the fifth inning here in the home opener. I'm Paul DiCostanzo, and this is Bombers Game Mike. Oh, yeah. Yeah, boy. You know, that's one of the things I have to say, that a professional broadcaster has one very big advantage in calling any game, is that they can take a break between innings. No such luck here in the world of YouTube, to say the least, but that's okay. We're here for all of it. And, yeah, wow, Rivals 26. I got to play that at some point. Something a little bit more fresh than the show at this point. I'd buy that for $1. I'd buy that for $1. Expect to hear that on the soundboard at some point. I'll tell you what. RoboCop, one of the best movies ever made. Certainly one of the most quotable. So, we're going to the bottom of the fifth inning here in the Bronx. And so far, it's been mostly Yankees. Wil Warren doing a fine job. Eury Perez in his entirety, assuming he comes out here for the fifth. At the very least, one thing you can say for him is that he didn't let it get too far out of hand. We'll see, but I'd be a little surprised if he came out here for the fifth. But, hey, folks, anything here is possible, right? Oh, yeah. A little bit of Aaron Boone nostalgia. You better believe it. So, here we are. We're in the bottom of the fifth inning with Cody Bellinger coming up to the plate. Ben Rice is on deck. Giancarlo is in the hole. And the first pitch to Bellinger. Strike, fastball, inside corner, and the count is 0-1. Tyler Phillips, the right-hander, is now in the game. An ERA of 2.7 last year, over something like 50 games, whatever the case may be. And the Yankees are challenging that pitch. And it appears that they have lost the challenge on that. So, last ABS challenge of the game on the part of the Yankees, unless we go to extras. Now, Phillips looks in, the right-hander, in for Eury Perez. He has a sign. He winds, and the 0-1. Fastball up and away to Bellinger, out of the zone, and the count is 1-1. And 0 for 2 today so far for Bellinger. Fly out and a fielder's choice, hitting .261 so far this season. Manning left. Here's the 1-1. In the dirt, down and in to Belly, and the count is 2-1. And, yeah, at this point, it was pretty clear that Eury Perez was not much longer for this game. You know, he was pushing 90 pitches by the time they yanked him. And the 2-1 pitch, fly ball out there to left center, giving chase to the center fielder, going back to the track, and it is over his head, and it bounces over the wall for a ground rule double. So taking second base will be Cody Bellinger for the leadoff ground rule double. And here comes the left-handed hitting first baseman, Ben Rice, who is 0 for 2 today. And yeah, that thing went right out there into classic Yankee Stadium, Death Valley. No one was close to it. Bounced right on over the outfield wall, right near the Marlin bullpen. And now the Yankees have a leadoff double here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Now, Phillips comes set from the stretch, and the first pitch to Rice is a ball down and in, a splitter, and the count is 1-0. Ben Rice 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts this afternoon. You know he wants to turn this around, batting .368 on the season with a home run. He wants to see one. He really wants to get one to hit. And the pitch. Once again, sweeper down and in to the left-handed hitting Rice, and the count is now 2-0. And Cody Bellinger, yeah, he's definitely a homebody in terms of the numbers. He is a Yankee Stadium left-handed hitter, I tell you what. Coming set is Phillips at the belt, and the 2-0. Swinging strike right on over the top of a splitter, down and in to Ben Rice, and the count is now 2-1. Ben Rice really looking to unload. I mean, you can just tell, right? You can just kind of tell, and that's fine. And Phillips comes set at the belt. The right-hander deals. A ball in the dirt, a splitter down and in to Ben Rice, and the count is now 3-1. And you say Rice gets on base here. Then you have Giancarlo Stanton on with runners on first and second and no one out, and we all know what he'll be trying to do there, no question. Coming set is Phillips, and the 3-1 to Rice. Strike, sinker, down and in, a fastball to the Yankee first baseman, and the count is full 3-2. So Phillips is looking in. Giancarlo Stanton is on deck. Digging in is Ben Rice, and looking in. Here's a 3-2. And it's down and in. Did he swing? Yes, he did, says the third base umpire. And that will be the first out of the inning. So striking out, swinging, a proper forward K. And that is the first out here for the Yankees in the bottom of the fifth inning. Not so far a great day for Ben Rice. And what's interesting about that one is he basically had gotten that pitch 2 or 3 times in that at-bat, and he just couldn't hold around on that one. Now, here is Stanton with the runner on second, 1 out the pitch. Sinker down and in for a ball to the big right-hander. The count is 1-0. 4-2 Yankees here in the bottom of the fifth inning here in the home opener. Phillips comes set with the sign. He looks in, and the 1-0. Going down the right field side, underneath it is the right fielder. He camps underneath it. That'll be the second out. Bluffing towards second is Bellinger. He's not going anywhere. And that is the second out of the inning. So right now, Jazz Chisholm basically has it on his shoulders for the Yankees not to waste a golden leadoff double by Bellinger. But we shall see. So far, with the exception of that ground rule double, Phillips has definitely brought some stability here for Miami here in the middle innings. Phillips comes set with Jazz at the plate. The first pitch. Slinker down and in. Just missed Chisholm, in fact. Counts 1-0. Jazz 1 for 1. Walk, double, a run scored, and 2 stolen bases. He has really been the engine in many respects today, with the exception of that two-run home run from Judge. Here's the pitch. Splitter down and away and out of the zone to the left-handed hitting Chisholm. Count is 2-0. 2 outs here in the bottom of the fifth inning. And Jazz is clearly sitting back waiting for something to hit. He is getting into a hitter's count here. Phillips comes set, and the pitch. Sweeper strike inside corner to the left-handed hitting Chisholm. The count is 2-1. And right now, Chisholm is just sitting back and clearly waiting for his pitch. He hasn't seen something he's liked so far. Phillips comes to the belt, and the 2-1. Just down and in, a sinker to the left-hander, and the count is now 3-1. And, of course, on deck is my boy Austin Wells, the catcher. He's 0 for 2 today. Phillips comes set at the belt. The 3-1 pitch. Swinging strike right on over a splitter down and in. In many ways, that was the pitch that ended up getting Ben Rice earlier. So they're not picking that one up very easily. A lot of late break motion on that, which you have to imagine for a lefty in that case is kind of devastating. Very, very much a tease, especially if you're a left-handed hitter where, for the most part, if you see one down and in, your eyes just light up. Now, looking in for the sign is Phillips. He comes set to Chisholm. And the 3-2 pitch. Strike 3 looking, and that will do it. So Jazz looks at something of a sweeper here. But we go to the top of the sixth inning. And the Yankees unfortunately waste the leadoff double by Cody Bellinger. But we go to the top of the sixth here in the home opener. 4-2 Yankees. I'm Paul, and this is Palmer's Game Mike. Yeah, that was a rough one there. That was a rough one, wasting a leadoff double like that. But what is it that John Sterling used to say? That's baseball, Susan. That's baseball, Susan. So, I don't know about you guys, but all the same, I'm having a fine afternoon here. Nothing like seeing Yankee baseball at Yankee Stadium. You know, I've been to most of the ballparks in Major League Baseball, and there are very few that leave you with the same kind of impression as does Yankee Stadium. I think sometimes we forget, just how lucky we are. And, I'm of just that age, right? Where I grew up with the old Yankee Stadium, the renovated one. And in many ways, I cannot deny that will always be my Yankee Stadium. But a lot of time has come since the old ballpark came down. And this is home now. And the Yankees have made it their home. And I remember that first season like nobody's business. How could you forget? Okay, yeah, tomorrow, Max Myers against Ryan Weathers. Ryan Weathers, that's always an event. You're never quite sure what you're going to get in a start with Ryan Weathers, but I believe he struck out 7 guys in his last outing. Which is pretty damn impressive. I mean, let's be honest here. But we're heading to the top of the 6th inning. Hello, Meredith. Always a pleasure to see ye. Out in the camera well next to the Yankee dugout. Warren's first pitch, grounded to the right side, fielded by Jazz Chisholm, throws to right at first in time. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the top of the 6th inning. Paulie goes down. He is now 0 for 2. Yes. And now here comes Marcy, who is 0 for 2 on the afternoon to Wil Warren. Warren has pitched now, it appears, 5 1/3 innings. Jacob Massey, 0 for 2, strikeout, flyout. So 3rd time through the order for Wil Warren. And for the most part, right now, he has given the Yankees everything you could possibly ask for on this occasion or any occasion. Here's the first pitch. A ball outside corner, a sweeper to the left-handed hitting Marcy. And the count is 1-0 with 1 out here in the top of the 6th inning. 4-2 Yankees here in the home opener. And the 1-0 from Warren. Sweeper outside corner for a strike. The count is 1-1. Fernando Cruz, the right-hander, is up in the pen, just should he need to be called upon here. Warren looks in, and the 1-1 to Marcy. Fly ball out to right center field. Drifting back is Judge. Going at the track, holds it on in for the 2nd out of the inning. I would say that ball was easily about 8 feet short of the wall. And Judge brings it in easily. He had it played perfectly out there. He was shaded a bit more towards right center. Only maybe about 4 or 5 steps behind him, and easy ones at that. And that'll be the 2nd out of the inning. And next here, of course, is the second baseman, Edwards, the left-handed hitter. He's 1 for 2 today. Here's the pitch. Four-seam fastball outside corner to the left-handed hitting Edwards, who's 1 for 2, who has one of the pair of solo home runs today that account for the Marlins' 2 runs this afternoon. Warren looks in. He comes set, and the 1-0 pitch. Strike, sinker, outside corner, down and away to the left-handed hitting Edwards. And the count is 1-1. 2 outs here in the top of the 6th inning. 4-2 Yankees. And time is granted by the home plate umpire to Edwards. 74 pitches so far today for Wil Warren, who is 1 out away from putting up 6 very clean frames, and very economically at that. Extremely impressive. Now, the 1-1 from Warren, the pitch. Looks like a sinker down and in to the left-handed hitting Edwards. The count is 2-1. So, he's only a couple pitches away, really, from putting something together that is very impressive, to say the least. Now, here's the 2-1 pitch. Hit to the right side and through for a base hit. Fielding is Judge. He throws it on in. And we have a 2-out single here in the top of the 6th inning by Edwards. That'll make him 2 for 3 on the afternoon. The home run, and, of course, the single right here. And that thing just kind of rushed its way right past Jazz. There was no getting that one. So Runner on first, 2 out here in the top of the 6th inning. Agustin Ramirez, the DH. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out. And here comes Aaron. Is that Aaron Boone? I can't tell. It looks like the pitching coach, but we'll see. Looks like we got ourselves. Yeah, no, it's the pitching coach. Hey, what can I say sometimes? You only take a glance at him. You're not sure who you're looking at sometimes. But there's a conference on the mound for Wil Warren, giving some extra time out there for Fernando Cruz should they need to call him in. But mostly at this point, I think it's just to calm Warren down, see if they can't get one more out from him. Lord knows that's what he wants. And it also looks like, is that Tim Hill out there that's warming up? I don't think it's him, no. But the Yankees do have a lefty up in the pen. Just in case we get to Hicks, who, of course, has had a very strong start to his season. Comes set is Warren from the stretch. And the first pitch to Ramirez, grounded down the third base side, fielded by Warren. He throws to first, and he's safe at first. He beats the throw, does Ramirez, and that'll put runners on first and second, 2 out here in the top of the 6th inning for the Marlins. And are we looking at a pitching change here? Aaron Boone is definitely looking itchy on that one. Here's the replay. And yeah, he absolutely beat it by maybe a quarter of a step, did Ramirez. It was a strong throw, and it was very, very well played by Wil Warren. He just didn't get it there in time. And you know what? Them's happens. Yeah, there's no question about it. He definitely beat the throw. So, are we looking at a pitching change here? And yep, old number 17 is out to take the ball. And Wil Warren is responsible for the runners on first and second, but he has effectively pitched 5 2/3 innings with 2 earned runs. He's had one hell of an afternoon. And boy, oh boy, how much more could you have expected from him? I mean, obviously, yeah, we wanted to get out of the inning. He did everything possible to ensure that almost entirely on his own power there. But, you know, sometimes the runner's going to beat the throw. What can we say? So we are now here in the top of the 6th inning with 2 outs, runners on first and second. 4-2 Yankees here in the home opener. And the Yankees are going, I believe, to the lefty to the pen to face Hicks, which is really the call you have to make right now. Hicks has been raking. Had a great couple of opening series there down in Miami. The first one against Colorado, the first one against the White Sox. So they're not going to take any chances here. It's a 4-2 lead. He runs into one. Next thing we know, it's 5-4 Miami. And that's obviously something that Aaron Boone is very much looking to avoid. So he's going to bring in a nasty left-hander, if he can help it, to say the least. So there we go. We wait. Yeah, absolutely. So, all the credit into the world to Wil Warren. He's obviously responsible for the 2 runners left on here. And I really hope, they can seal the job for him because, 5 2/3 innings to the extent that he did it, a couple of earned runs. He did more than keep the Yankees in the game. He really did. You cannot help but be pleased by that if you are a Yankee fan. Now, Tim Hill, yep, 3 1/3 so far. No walks, 3 strikeouts. Opponents hitting a measly 100 against him. Looking at the lefty-lefty matchup now against Hicks. And Hill comes set. He deals. Sinker inside to Hicks. And count is 1-0. Liam Hicks 0 for 2. Flyout, ground out, hitting .412 in the early season. Hill comes set. And the 1-0 pitch. Grounded to the right side, fielded by Hicks. Throws to right at first in time. And that will do it. So Tim Hill gets them all out of a jam. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning, 4-2 Yankees here at the home opener. And this is Bombers Game Mike. Yeah, that was... Tim Hill so far has been earning every penny going out there and getting left-handers. They are clearly having trouble picking up a ball that, from their perspective, looks like it's coming out of right field. a lot of people used to say that a lot about Randy Johnson. And, of course, he would throw from a variety of arm angles, of course. But given just how tall and lanky a human being he was, and, the tilt on his slider as it could be, I mean, being a lefty against Randy Johnson was just awful. Absolutely awful. That's just the worst assignment you could possibly ask for. But that's all right. So the Yankees are going here to the bottom of the sixth inning, 4-2. And Wil Warren, hey, I mean, goodness, 5 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, both earned. Critically, no walks and 6 strikeouts. And, of course, he gave up the pair of solo home runs, both, I believe, in the first and the fourth. No, the fifth. And that is where we are at now. So, due up here, I believe, is Caballero, McMahon, and Grisham for the Yankees. And it is definitely one of those middle inning tedium, to say the least. I mean, not that any of us would want to be doing anything other than watching Yankee baseball. And if you're joining me for any part of that, my goodness. And yeah, here comes my boy from behind the dish, one Austin Wells. Good old number 28, left-hander, digs into the box. Phillips is out for his second inning of work. Other than the leadoff ground rule double from Bellinger back in the fifth, he's been all right. And Wells 0 for 2, strikeout, flyout, 167 in the early season. Phillips looks in. He winds and deals. The pitch to Austin. It's a ball down and in. It looks like a fastball. Count is 1-0. And the Yankees have Bird up in the bullpen, the right-hander. Here's the 1-0 to Wells. Low is the sinker. Down and in to Austin Wells. The count is now 2-0. Just keeps working that count. 20 pitches so far for Phillips. Phillips looks in for the sign. He winds and the pitch. Sweeper outside corner to the left-handed hitting Austin Wells, and the count is now 3-0. And if you're Austin Wells right now, you're just taking all the way. At least I think you're taking all the way. Phillips looks in for the sign. The reliever comes to the wind, and the 3-0. Strike splitter just out over the plate, and the count is 3-1. So, yeah, Austin Wells taking all the way there. He wants to show that he can actually throw him the strike, or else he'll just take the free pass. Looking in as Phillips for the sign. He winds, and the right-hander deals. Foul tipped off the leg from Austin Wells, and the count is now full 3-2. So, bottom of the sixth inning, 4-2 Yankees here in the home opener here on Bombers Game Mike. I'm Paul DiCostanzo. That's New York Yankees. This is the home opener. Time is granted to Wells by the home plate umpire. And time has resumed. Wells digs back into the box. Phillips looks in for the sign. He winds and deals. Hit to the right side and foul down the first base side and out of play. And the count remains 3-2 to Austin Wells, who, you certainly do at the moment. But once again, the Yankees putting in deep counts regardless of who they are up against. Very impressive professional hitting. Just straight up. Now, Phillips winds and the pitch. And it's down and in. Did he go around? No, says the first base umpire. And Austin Wells has a leadoff walk for the Yankees here in the bottom of the sixth inning. And he's there on first. And the Yankees have definitely had their share of leadoff walks today, not all of which they have capitalized on. Here's the shortstop, Jose Caballero, batting eighth. He's 0 for 1 with a walk back in the second, stolen base. Here's the pitch. Sweeper inside corner for a strike to the right-handed hitting shortstop, and the count is 0-1. I believe in his last at-bat, he tried to get Jazz Chisholm home on a suicide squeeze with 2 outs. Well, that was impressive in its own way. A lot of audacity there. Napoleon-esque. Here's the 0-1. That's a sweeper down and away to the right-hander out of the zone. The count is 1-1. It's unlikely that Austin Wells is going to take off there at first base, I think it's fair to say. but that's all right. Coming set does Phillips. He looks in. The 1-1 to Caballero. Grounded to the third base side. Fielded by the third baseman, who he boots it. And everybody is safe. So Paulie went down there. He tried to field it glove side. Couldn't get it out of the leather. And now the Yankees have runners on first and second, and nobody out here in the bottom of the sixth inning. And, it was a very playable ball by Paulie. Most third basemen in the major leagues would expect to be able to make that play. But when he went down, it came down glove side. He tried to get it with the leather, and it just never really got into the glove, booted out in front of him. And now runners on first and second because everybody's safe on that. So one thing you got to give Jose Caballero, one way or another, he really does tend to stay in the middle of things for a guy that's just looking to nail down shortstop defensively. Now, here's the pitch. Strike outside corner to Ryan McMahon, of course, who has 2 walks this afternoon. Does the left-handed hitting third baseman. 4-2 Yankees, nobody out, runners on first and second. Phillips looks in from the stretch. And the 0-1. Well out and away, a sinker nowhere close to the plate was that one. The count is 1-1. 30 pitches so far for Phillips in what is just over 1+ inning of work officially here so far. Phillips comes set at the belt. And the 1-1 to McMahon hits it down the third base side. Giving chase is Conine. He's there in front of the track. He makes the catch. Tagging is both Austin, and he is in third, and he is safe. And he is safe. Both Cabrera and Austin, well, at least Austin manages to tag up to third from second base. And so the Yankees now have runners on first and third and only 1 out. And this was really an incredible base running play by Austin. He comes back. He's watching the pickup in terms of where he catches it, and then he's just off without a beat. The throw is offline, and Austin Wells is right in there to third. And it is extremely impressive. And he just got around the tag. That was audacity in the extreme, right? Audacity in the extreme. So we have 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning, runner on first and third, 4-2 Yankees. And here is Trent Grisham for his 4th at-bat this afternoon. And Phillips steps off. So runners on first and third, 1 out. The runner, Austin Wells, going from second to third on the tag up there against the off-line throw from Conine. And the first pitch to Grisham. Fastball up and away and out of the zone. And the count is 1-0. So 4-2 Yankees, 1 out, runners on first and third. We got a 1 out count to the Yankee center fielder, the left-handed hitting Trent Grisham, who's certainly been in the throes of it for most of today. Now, Phillips looks in, steps off, throws over to third, and nowhere close. Austin is not playing around over there. No big leads, nothing like that. So far, we've seen his audacity so far in this inning. And that's really kind of been the story about the Yankee offense. With the exception of the Aaron Judge home run in the first, they've been kind of making their own luck on the bases. And time is called by the home plate umpire. So runners on first and third, 1 out. It's a 1-0 count to Trent Grisham, who's officially 0 for 1 today. Right? He obviously has an RBI to show for it with the walk back in the 4th. And Phillips comes set, does the right-hander. From the belt, the 1-0. Strike, fastball, outside corner. And Caballero manages to go and swipe second. So the Yankees now have runners on second and third and 1 out here with a 1-1 count. And coming in is the infield. Every infielder is even with the bags. Here's the 1-1. Down and in, a four-seam fastball out of the zone, and the count is now 2-1. So, yeah, right now, all of the Marlin infielders have come either even or slightly in front of the bag. They want to be able to cut off the runner at home with less than 2 outs here, and obviously not having a force available as yet. Here's the 2-1. Sweeper outside corner, taking all the way, is Trent Grisham, and the count is 2-2. And right now, of course, you have Aaron Judge on deck which is exactly who you want on deck in a situation like this, let's be honest. And looks like there's some clarification there on the part of Trent Grisham with the home plate umpire. Phillips, 35 pitches so far in 1 1/3 innings. Now comes set is Phillips from the stretch at the belt. The pitch. Grounded foul out of play. Just a dribbler down the first base side. And the count remains 2-2. And, this is a big moment. Obviously, Trent Grisham really wants to mash one here. The Marlins want to cut down the runner at the plate if they possibly can. Who can blame them? But the Yankees really, all told, if he's able to get something on this, they have the ability to begin kind of opening this thing up. And here's a 2-2. Hit down the right field side, and it is a foul ball just into the stands. And it would appear the fan in the first row there actually managed to catch that one with the leather. The count remains 2-2, but it looks like one heck of a play on his part. He earned that thing. That if you're of an age, that would have been a web gem back on Baseball Tonight, back when ESPN was cool. Yep, that was a heck of a catch there, right on the line by that fan. Who, goodness, he can't be more than 20 years old, and he's probably younger than that. No, he's 13 easily. What a thrill. Now, here comes the 2-2 to Grisham. In the ball, a curveball down and in, and the count is now full 3-2. So, runners on second and third, 1 out. A full count here to Trent Grisham. 4-2 Yankees here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Phillips is in quite a bit of trouble. He has been laboring this entire way. Digging in is the center fielder, Trent Grisham, in the left-handed hitter's batter's box. And here's a 3-2. Ball 4, and they are challenging it. They are challenging the ball 4 ruling are the Marlins, so we sit here and wait for the challenge. And the challenge is successful. So strike 3, down goes Trent Grisham. And that is just unfortunate. The ABS there, they had their 1 remaining. They used it, and they were right. It was indeed a strike. So 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Runners on second and third, 4-2 Yankees. Here comes Aaron Judge. Phillips is on the bump, and here's the first pitch. A ball sweeper down and away to the big right-hander. And count is 1-2. Judge 1 for 2 with a 2-run home run this afternoon. Hit by pitch, 3 RBIs. He's had a hell of a day. Now, coming set is Phillips from the stretch, and the 1-0. Well inside. A sinker nowhere near the zone. And the count is 2-0. Really, Aaron Judge is waiting for his selection here. Runners on second and third, 2 out. Judge is back in the box. Phillips comes set at the belt. And the 2-0. Low sinker down and away, and the count is now 3-0. Now, if you are Judge, are you taking all the way? Are you taking all the way? And you know what? You might, especially with first base open. Phillips is going to be very careful. Here's the 3-0. Strike, splitter, outside corner, and the count is now 3-1. So here's the big hitter's count to Aaron Judge. He's looking out over the plate. Now, in the case of Phillips with 2 outs here, he is not going to throw it down Broadway intentionally. Here's a 3-1. Strike, sweeper, outside corner, and the count is now full 3-2 to the big right fielder for the Bombers, the reigning American League most valuable player. 44 pitches so far for Phillips, and an inning in 2/3. Here's the 3-2. And he has walked, and the bases are now loaded for the Yankees. Cody Bellinger coming up to the plate here in the bottom of the 6th inning with 2 outs. And, of course, in his last at-bat, he led off with a ground rule double, which unfortunately did not come around and score for the Yankees' sake. But here we are, folks. And this is one of those times why you pay Cody Bellinger the big bucks they did in the offseason. Bottom of the 6th, bases loaded, 2 out. Here's the big left-hander. The first pitch from Phillips. Swinging strike right over a curveball down and in, and the count is 0-1. And you know Bellinger wants to come through here in the home opener. He wants to put his bat on that thing and hit it into the next area code. Phillips looks in for the sign. He comes set at the belt. Here's the 0-1. That is a sinker down and in and out of the zone to the left-hander, and the count is 1-1. There is action out there. Right-handed pitcher Peterson out in the Miami bullpen, as Phillips is approaching 50 pitches so far in his timeout today. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Swinging and fouled off. No, swung right on through it. And the count is 1-2. So right now, Cody Bellinger is looking to protect here in the bottom of the 6th inning. He wants something to show with the bases juiced. 2 outs, bottom of the 6th inning, 4-2 Yankees. Can he do it? We shall see. Phillips comes set at the belt, and the 1-2 pitch in the dirt, and it gets away from the catcher. Coming on home is the runner, and we have a run here. It is now 5-2 Yankees on the wild pitch from Phillips. Both of the runners advance to second and third, so not exactly the way they drew it up, but it will work. And yeah, that's definitely a wild pitch. That is not a pass ball, not the way I'm scoring it. Oh yeah, yep. Austin Wells just kind of trots on home with that one. So runners on second and third. The official score is indeed a wild pitch. Here's the 2-2. Swing to the right field side and fouled out of play. And the count is 2-2. Yes, indeed. So here we are, folks. So count is 2-2 to Bellinger. 2 outs here. Runners on second and third. The Yankees already have 1 in on the wild pitch from Phillips. This at-bat. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Fouled down the left field side and out of play does Bellinger. And we'll do it all again at 2-2. Really, the Yankees have just been kind of grinding these innings and grinding these runs one way or another, with the exception of that mammoth home run back in the first by Aaron Judge. Now here's a 2-2 pitch. And it's a fly ball to center field, tracking as the center fielder, going back near the track, and he hauls it in for the third and final out of the inning. So the Yankees put 1 more across after 6 full. Here on the home opener, it is 5-2 Yankees here in the home opener, going to the top of the 7th inning here on Bombers Game Mike. All right. Now we get ready for the decisive frames, folks. This has really been just and actually a very exciting home opener for the Yankees, right? Even the score doesn't even really tell you the full story, having watched it here since the beginning. But, you know, for all that it's worth, right? For all that it's worth, the Marlins have actually been playing a closer game than it initially appears. And as far as the rotation, right, whether it be Perez starting or Phillips out of the pen there, they haven't let it get out of hand. And there have been easily 2 or 3 definitive points so far through 6 full where the Yankees could have busted it open but didn't. And that's something to take a lot of mind to, because, you know, for all that it's worth, you know, they are a much more competitive club than I think many would necessarily guess. And hey, calendar night Saturday, April 4th at 7:05 p.m. Go to Yankees.com for tickets. Sounds great. Everybody needs calendar night these days, right? All right, here comes the right-hander Jake Bird, who's thrown 3 1/3 so far this season. No walks, 3 strikeouts. Opponents hitting a measly 0.91 against him. Stepping in as a shortstop Lopez, a right-hander. First pitch from Bird. That is a sinker down and in to the right-hander, and the count is 1-0 here in the top of the 7th inning. 5-2 Yankees here in the home opener. 0 for 2 so far is Lopez today. And the 1-0 from Bird. And it is a pop-up to center field. Going back is Grisham. He's calling for it, and he brings it in for the easy first out of the inning. Tracked it down maybe a half dozen steps to his right, going towards the warning track. And that's the first out here in the top of the 7th inning. And, of course, Owen Casey's up 1 for 2. He has one of the solo home runs today, batting .364 this season for Miami. And Bird with the quick out. 2 pitches, 1 out. Who could ask for more? He comes set at the belt. The first pitch. Cutter high to the left-handed hitting Casey. Count is 1-0. Really need a cough button here. Now, comes set at the belt does Bird. And the right-hander deals. Strike curveball on the inside corner to the left-handed hitting Casey. And the count is 1-0 with 1 out here in the top of the 7th inning. 5-2 Yankees. He's set at the belt. And Bird deals. Strike curveball inside corner to Casey at the bat. And the count is now 1-2. And, you know, Casey has to have been hearing this his entire career up through Little League. Casey at the bat. I mean, in many ways, he was in some way born to be a baseball player with that. Now the 1-2 from Bird, the pitch. Strike 3, looking. Curveball outside corner to the left-handed hitting Casey, and that'll be the second out of the inning. And yeah, backwards K on that one. Casey is caught in the observatory, whispers over the black of the outside corner, and that will be the second out of the inning, recorded by the right-hander Bird. Bird comes set with Norby, right-handed hitter Norby at the plate. The pitch. Sweeper down and in the dirt. Count is 1-0. Connor Norby down at first base. 0 for 2 strikeout, ground out today. And come set is Bird for the 1-0. The pitch. Strike curveball inside corner to the right-hander. Count is 1-1. And Bird has only thrown 8 pitches so far, so economic to say the least. And that's exactly what you're looking for if you're Aaron Boone. Now the 1-1 pitch. Outside sweeper, well and away from the right-handed hitter. The count's 2-1. And so far, Bird has had a very good season, highly effective. He comes set at the belt. The 2-1 pitch, fouled back right off the home plate umpire's mask. That couldn't have been terribly pleasant, but he didn't even flinch. The count is now 2-2. So Bird is 1 strike away from getting out of this thing. No, it didn't hit him on the mask. It got him on the padding on the shoulders there. Did the ball get the home plate umpire? In massive points for not even flinching on his part. Now the 2-2 from Bird, the pitch. Strike 3. Swung right on through it, and that will do it. So after 6.5, we go to the bottom of the 7th inning here at Yankee Stadium for the home opener. 5-2 Yankees. It is the 7th inning stretch, and it is time for God Bless America. And right now, you know, we all enjoy baseball as something of an escape. But if you know somebody, a friend, a family member, a loved one, somebody that you've known that you cared about that it's serving right now, this is definitely one of those times to break. Keep them in your thoughts as they sing God Bless America, and of course, followed by Take Me Out to the Ball Game. So this is Bombers Game Mike here in the 7th inning stretch. Yes. Do we have a celebrity singing it today? I don't know. Kind of looks like maybe. Wow. Cheers. Veteran of the game, Myra Winnie, United States Air Force Senior Master Sergeant. Well, that is an impressive career if you're familiar with it. That's a lot of dedication. That's a lot of hours of deployment. It's a career, 100%. So we sit here and we rejoice and remember with God Bless America. And that's God Bless America, folks. We head here to the bottom of the seventh inning, 5-2 Yankees here for the home opener. And so far, the Yankee pitching been very strong. Timely hitting, really squeezing both Eury Perez and, of course, the Miami bullpen. Man, they really do push StatCast. It's interesting. It's not my end-all, be-all, but it's interesting. It's entertaining. You know, I am definitely not beyond appreciating good baseball statistics and new baseball statistics at that. So, and boy, they're really pushing Rivals 26. All right, looks like we're getting back here for the bottom of the seventh inning here on the home opener at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees have a 5-2 lead, and they have 6 outs to secure. But they're looking to add to it a little bit here. This game is certainly not out of hand for Miami, and it would be damn foolish. But 2-4-1 are the Marlins so far. 5-3-0 are the Yankees going into the bottom of the seventh. Wil Warren, 5 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 2 runs, both earned, no walks, 6 strikeouts. Aaron Judge, 1 for 2 with the big home run, 3 RBIs, that next one on the hit by pitch. Oh, goodness. Here we are, folks. And a new pitcher, Michael Peterson, is in 15 games last year with a 4 ERA and 18 inning pitch. Here's the first pitch to Rice. Strike outside corner to the left-handed hitting first baseman. Ben Rice is 0 for 3 this afternoon. He's hitting .350 so far in the young season. 1 home run, 5 RBIs, and 11.09 OPS. And Peterson comes set. In the 0-1, down and in, changeup well out of the zone. Count is 1-1 to Ben Rice. Here in the bottom of the seventh inning, 5-2 Yankees over Miami here in the home opener. Now, Peterson comes set just below the belt. And the 1-1 pitch, swinging strike right through the four-seam fastball. A little bit of cheddar there by Peterson to Rice. And the count is now 1-2. And this has really been quite a ball game so far. Definitely keeping you engaged. Now comes set does the right-hander Peterson, the 1-2. And it is hit to right field. And it is foul into the main level. Easily about 20-25 feet to the right of the right field foul pole. probably the best and hardest hit ball that Rice has had today, having gone 0 for 3 so far. So the count is 1-2 here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Nobody out. 5-2 Yankees here in the home opener. Here comes set, does the right-hander Patterson below the belt. And the 1-2 to Rice. And it is hit to right field. Going back to the right fielder. And it is gone. A solo home run for Ben Rice. An absolute laser beam. And the Yankees take a 6-2 lead. Oh, my goodness. After the one he had just pushed foul, how could you want to go back inside after that? That had a 110.9 exit velo on it. Oh, that thing was an absolute liner. A solo home run by Ben Rice, and that makes it a 6-2 Yankee lead here in the bottom of the 7th inning, and there is still nobody out, with Giancarlo Stanton heading to the plate. Now the first pitch from Peterson to Giancarlo. That's a ball down and away, breaking ball. And yeah, on the replay here, oh, that thing was absolutely golfed. Easily about 3 to 4 rows deep out beyond the right field wall in the short porch there at Yankee Stadium. Now the 1-0 from Peterson to Stanton. Chopped foul and out of play, third base side. Count is 1-1. And yeah, this pitch was middle. No question about it. He was sitting dead red for something right there. And he had been doing that all afternoon. That's exactly what he's been looking for the entire time. Now the 1-1 to Stanton, the pitch. It's a fly ball out there to left field. Going back is the shortstop, Lopez. He's underneath it. He makes the catch for the first out of the inning. So an easy pop to short left field did Giancarlo Stanton, which accounts for our first out here in the bottom of the 7th. It is a 6-2 Yankee lead here in the home opener here on Bombers Game Mike. And really just a really fantastic. He was right on top of that. Now here's Jazz Chisholm, 1 for 2 today, in addition to a whole bunch of stuff. Here's the pitch. And that is a fly ball out to center field. Doesn't even need to move a step or to his right. He hauls it in for the second out of the inning, does the center fielder. So one pitch for the second out of the inning. And next comes the catcher, Austin Wells, who, of course, was responsible for scoring the 5th Yankee run today on a wild pitch. He's 0 for 2, walking 6, run. He's had a decent day. It doesn't tell you everything. Now the first pitch to Wells. Fastball out and away to the left-hander, and the count is 1-0. And he's been pretty steady, all told. He's been in the mix. Let's put it this way. That 0 for 2 doesn't tell all the story. Now, here's the 1-0 pitch. In the dirt, cutter. The count is 2-0 to Austin Wells. And, Peterson, 11 pitches so far, and believe me, he wants one of those back, to say the least. My goodness. So, Peterson comes set, and the 2-0 to Wells. Hits it foul down the first base side and out of play. Count is 2-1. And the Yankees have just been slowly tacking them on here, tacking them on there, trying to pad the lead here on the home opener. Quite a shot there by, Peterson on the mound. He comes set at the waist, and the 2-1. Cutter down and in. Count is 3-1. And yeah, this game has slowed in some ways, to be sure. Peterson looks in. He comes to the big exaggerated set, and the 3-1 pitch. Ball 4, down in and four-seam fastball, and that'll put a runner on first with 2 out here in the bottom of the 7th for the Yankees. Dan Fiorito, the first base coach of Yonkers, New York. Yes, always liking to highlight the hometown guys, of course. Yes, indeed. So, with that walk, runner on first, 2 out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Here's Caballero. Cutter down and away to the right-hander. And count is 1-0. Peterson's not having a great day here, folks. There's just no nice way of putting that. He wants it back. He wants it back. And time is granted by the home plate umpire. And Wells gets on top of first. Caballero 0 for 2. Walk, reached on an error, a run, a couple of stolen bases, and just that ridiculously audacious, basically suicide squeeze with 2 outs to try to score Jazz Chisholm at home. A few innings back for the third and final out of that inning. Now Caballero's at the plate. Here's the 1-0. Strike, cutter down and away over the outside corner. Count is 1-1 to Caballero. And Peterson looking in. Wells leads off first. He looks over at first, does Peterson. He comes to the big, exaggerated set at the belt. And the 1-1. Fastball, four-seam up and away to Caballero. Count is 2-1. And, like I said, Caballero is interesting because he has a way of just being in the mix somehow. Very low profile. He does his job well. But, man, he gets into it. Here's a 2-1. Strike, cutter, outside corner to the right-hander. Count is 2-2. So, Peterson, for his part, is 1 strike away from getting out of this bottom of the 7th inning. And Lord knows the entire dugout over there wants them to do it. Now, here's the 2-2 to Caballero. Fouled off down the first base side and out of play. Count remains 2-2. And, yeah, looks like there was something of a hit and run going on there as Austin Wells took off for second. Jogs on back to first. And we get to do this again. Peterson 1 strikeout away. Looks like 19 pitches so far since entering the game. Wells leads slightly off first. Comes set does Peterson, and the 2-2. He goes for second, and that's strike 3 for the third and final out of the inning. So we go to the top of the 8th here. It is a 6-2 Yankee lead, and we'll be back for your top of the 8th inning. 6-2 Yankees here on Bombers Game Mic here for the home opener. I'll tell you, breaking the fourth wall here a little bit, that controlling the score bug is a talent and task all its own. But these things are to be expected. What can I say? Yeah, let's see what's going on here. Yes. Fine day for baseball in the Bronx. 6-2 Yankees going to the top of the 8th inning. Now, really the question here is, does Aaron Boone go to his presumed top setup guys? How does he treat it? My guess is he is very interested in nailing down the home opener, especially coming off an off day, albeit one in which they traveled across the length of the contiguous United States to be here to play this. And we are nearing 4 p.m. Eastern time. So, for all told, this has actually been, I think, a pretty tidy game so far, right? About 2.5 hours. I mean, usually they go for something longer, but we've had some long innings here. But top of 8, the Yankees could not have hoped to draw it up better than they have so far. And the Gotham Sports app, I've only heard horror stories so far. I'm glad I haven't had to deal with it myself. But win some, you lose some on the technical side. We're going into the top of the 8th inning, 6-2 Yankees. It would look like Slater's in, Hendrick, the left-hander Hendrick is in the game. And he has thrown the first pitch for a strike. 3 to third innings, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, 333 opposing average through 4 games this season. Now here's the 0-1 pitch. Sinker down and away, a ball to the right-handed hitting Austin Slater, who is now pinch hitting this afternoon. And Slater, Hendrick deals, and that is a fly ball out to center field. Going back is Jazz Chisholm. He calls it. He hauls it in for the first out of the inning. So, few pitches here for Hendricks. 1 quick out, top of the 8th inning. 6-2 Yankees here in the home opener. Now coming to bat, I believe we have another pinch hitter. In for Paulie. Here's the pitch. Foul ball down the first base side and out of play to the pinch hitting right-hander. Heriberto Hernandez, 143, no home runs and an RBI. Pinch hitting for Paulie in the 9-hole. It's an 0-1 count. Left-hander Hendrick comes set. He deals. A slider down and in for a ball. And the count is 1-1. So 6-2 Yankees here in the top of the 8th inning. 1 out. Lefty Hendrick is on the mound for a 1-1 count. And here's the pitch. Foul down the first base side and out of play. And the count is now 1-2. So the game here now is get it to David Bednar. Right? That's the game now. Get it to David Bednar. And time is granted by the home plate umpire to the pinch hitter Hernandez. Hendrick looks in for the sign. Left-hander comes set above the waist in the 1-2. Strike 3, swung right over the top of that, did Hernandez, and that'll be the second out of the inning. So far, lefty Hendrick has absolutely been very effective, doing exactly what you want him to do. Granted, it is not the tightest of games at the moment, but this is Major League Baseball, and that can change in a second. Up to bat is Marcy for his 4th at-bat today. The pitch, swinging strike right over the top of that thing from the lefty Hendrick, and the count is now 0-1. 6-2 Yankees, top of the 8th inning, 2 out here. Marcy at the dish, I believe, for the 4th time today. Hendrick looks in for the sign. He comes set above the waist, the 0-1. Strike, slider, outside corner to the left-handed hitting Marcy. And the count is now 0-2. And Hendrick is 1 pitch away from retiring the Marlins 1-2-3. Let's see where he goes. Hendrick comes set. Here's the 0-2. Strike 3. Swung right over the top of that one. And that will do it. So 1-2-3 goes Miami. Yankees have a 6-2 lead going to the bottom of the 8th inning here at Yankee Stadium for the home opener 2026. I am Paul DiCostanzo, and this is Bombers Game Mike. Oh, that was brilliant. I mean, that was outstanding bullpen work. It just tore right through them. 100%. 100%. That's exactly what you want to see going into, an occasion like this. No doubt whatsoever. So, we're going to the bottom 8th inning. You'd imagine, it's a 4-run lead, right? So David Bednar is going to be on call. I don't know, considering it's not, not a guaranteed save situation at this point, that Aaron Boone is going to go in that direction. He might, like I said earlier, they're coming off the off day. And if you're the closer, obviously, you don't want to ride out that arm into the ground. You want to take any opportunity you can to give them a day or two. But the fact of the matter is, it's the home opener. This matters. They know it's a big game. Granted, Game 7 of 162. We get that. But there are certain inflection points in any given season, right? And the Yankees, I think, probably, and Aaron Boone, of course, probably want to make this clean. But, we'll see what happens. The bullpen for the Yankees has really been outstanding. Wil Warren, putting in the work that he did, 5 2/3 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, 6 strikeouts. He left, a couple of solo jobs, which, largely stand for the Marlins' only offense today. And the Yankee bullpen on top of that has been outstanding. The offense, they could have had some bigger innings, but they do keep tacking on here and there and there and there. So we'll see where this one goes, folks. So we're heading to the bottom of the 8th inning. 6-2 Yankees here in the home opener on April 3rd of 2026. And who wouldn't want to be there right now, right? 2-4-1 are Miami, 6-4-0 are the Yankees. Here comes Lake Bachar, a 3.93 ERA last year, 71 innings pitched, 30 walks, 75 strikeouts, a 2.13 opposing average. And the first pitch to McMahon is a ball down in, four-seam fastball. The count's 1-0. So, obviously, right now, in the case of Ryan McMahon, he's 0-for-1 with a pair of walks. All right. But if you're Miami, you're just looking to keep this one right where it is to give yourself any chance whatsoever to come back in this game. And here's the 1-0. That's a ball down and away. The count is 2-0 to the lefty McMahon. And Bachar is obviously coming off some pretty decent numbers last year. And he has one mission at the moment, just keep them where they are. And that makes a whole lot of sense. And here's the pitch. Swinging strike over a slider down and in to McMahon. Count is 2-1. After McMahon, you have Grisham on deck. And, of course, you have Aaron Judge currently in the hole. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swinging strike right over the top of that slider down and in. And the count is now 2-2. So, Bachar has largely been going after him. McMahon has not really put a good swing on the ball so far. Not really a great swing on much this afternoon. Here's a 2-2. Strike three. Swings right over the top of that one, down and in. And that'll be the first out of the inning here in the bottom of the 8th. And here comes the Yankees center fielder, the left-handed hitting Trent Grisham, who's definitely had some action today, if not hitting the ball terribly hard so far himself. But he definitely has an RBI to show for it on a couple of walks, one of which caused the RBI. He also has a run scored. 2 official at-bats, of course. Here's the first pitch. Four-seam fastball out and away to the left-hander. The count is 1-0. And David Bednar is not up in the Yankee pen right now. So that lets you know what Aaron Boone is thinking. Here's the 1-0. Slider down and in. A ball to the left-hander. Count is 2-0. Looks like that was on a slider. Trent Grisham 0-for-2. Pair of walks, run RBI. 182 so far this year. I'm sure he is looking to improve that. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Well down and in, a sweeper and well outside of the zone. And the count is now 3-0. 6-2 Yankees, 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And right now the Yankees are seeing if they can't go and tack one on. We shall see. Bachar looks in. The right-hander comes, set just below the letters. The pitch. Strike, outside corner, says the home plate umpire. And the count is 3-1. And if you're Trent Grisham here, are you taking all the way? Or are you just seeing what's out there? He probably has the green light. Here's a 3-1. Strike, slider, outside corner, taking all the way is the Yankee center fielder. And the count is now 3-2. 3-2 for Trent Grisham. And, Miami's trying to keep it close. They're trying to see if they can put something together in the top half of the 9th. The Yankees will have something to say about that. Bachar comes set at the belt. And the 3-2 in the dirt, ball 4. So the Yankees have a 1-out walk here in the bottom of the 8th inning. I think that is the 3rd walk today for Trent Grisham. So he's been on base quite a lot. And, of course, here comes Aaron Judge, the right fielder. 1-for-2 with a 2-run home run back in the first, hit by pitch, a walk, and 3 RBIs, accountable for 3 of the 6 Yankee runs scored so far here today. Now the first pitch to Judge. Down and away. Did he go around, says the first base umpire? Yes, he did, says Blue down the first base line. Couldn't hold up, could Judge, and the count is 0-1. And you know what Judge is thinking here. He sees one out over the plate. He wants to close this game out himself. Now the 0-1. Foul tipped right off the umpire and the catcher. And the count is now 0-2 with 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. And, if you're Baychar at the moment, if you're able to get one past Aaron Judge, you don't have that much let up with Bellinger right behind him, but you're trying. He looks in, throws over to first. Back safely is Trent Grisham. And the count is still 0-2 here in the bottom of the 8th inning. 6-2 Yankees, 1 out. It's an 0-2 count to Aaron Judge. Coming set is Baychar at the belt. And the right-hander deals. It is hit to the left field side, and it is down for a single. Throwing into third base, and in is Trent Grisham. He manages not just to take second, but comes all the way around to third. He goes first to third on the single to left field by Aaron Judge. And the Yankees now have runners on first and third. 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. That is some audacious base running. Yeah, he was clearly going on that one. It looks to be a hit and run. He came around very, very, very fast. The throw was just definitely not in time, and the Yankees now have runners on first and third. 1 out here in the bottom of the 8th inning. 6-2 Yankees here for the home opener, and the Yankees are definitely looking to add to that 6-2 lead to try to nail this one down today. And yes, is showing us that play at third in slow motion. And, that is exactly the time you go for third, right? You have 1 out. Clearly, Grisham has been very aware. He's been in the middle of all of it, even though he doesn't have any hits to show for it today. And sometimes that's enough. And the Yankees have really just been running all day on the bases, doing one thing or another, right? It's been extremely impressive to watch. They have not been station to station in the least. They have made it so that the Marlins have had to be on their toes the entire time. All right? The entire time. And that's okay. Now, runners on first and third. Aaron Judge at first. Trent Grisham at third. And are they giving him home? Oh, boy. It looks like, was that on interference? Yeah, I think the Yankees might have the 7th run of the game here, because on the play to third, it looks like there was interference on the part of the third baseman, Jimenez. Or is he out? No, he is considered out on the play. And the throw down to second, Judge takes second successfully. So basically what happened there is with the throw to third that initially appeared safe on the part of Trent Grisham, he ended up getting dragged off the bag, and the tag was applied. It looks like they looked back on a replay, and then ultimately he was ruled out. So runner on second, 2 out here, 1 out to Cody Bellinger. Here's the pitch. Down and in. Did he swing? No, says the first base umpire, and the count is 2-0. It was one of those really wacky plays. A really wacky play. But there's really no question on the replay that he did, Trent Grisham did come off the bag, though I swear he seemed like he was forced to. Here's a 2-0. Foul down the first base side, and out of play does Bellinger, and the count is 2-1. So 6-2 Yankees here in the bottom of the 8th inning. 2 out, runner on second. Aaron Judge is a 2-1 count to Cody Bellinger. Runner on scoring position for the Yankees. Now, Baychar deals. Fastball four-seamer well and away out of the zone to the left-handed hitting Bellinger, and the count is now 3-1. And one of the stranger plays that you will see, just straight up. Here's a 3-1 pitch, and that is ball 4. So the Yankees now have runners on first and second with 2 out. And coming to the plate is Ben Rice, who, as you remember, had a laser shot solo home run in his last at-bat in the 7th inning. And you think he's going to try and do that again? It's entirely plausible. Entirely plausible. So There's a conference there out in the mound. The pitching coach is there trying to settle down Baychar. This has definitely been a longer inning and a very strange one at that. A lot of ups and downs all around. It's definitely not how you usually draw it up in spring training. So be it. Here we go. So runners on first and second. 2 out here with the first baseman, Ben Rice, coming back to the dish. 1 for 4 today. And the most important one was that solo job back in the 7th. Giancarlo Stanton is on deck. And come set is the right-hander Baychar. The pitch. Strike splitter outside corner to the left-handed hitting first baseman Rice. And the count is 0-1. So, runners on first and second. 2 outs, 6-2 Yankees, bottom of the 8th. The pitch from Baychar, the 0-1. And that is hit to right field. Going back to the right fielder, looking up, and it is off the top of the wall. Scoring is Judge. Coming around third. Here's the play at the plate. And Bellinger scores a 2-run double for Ben Rice, his second and third RBIs of the day. And the Yankees take an 8-2 lead. Oh, my goodness, folks. Oh, that was another laser beam. It looked like it was right off the top of the wall, maybe a few feet away from just going out. The right fielder there, just out of his reach. It hits the StubHub advertisement right there on the padding in the top of the wall in right center, just beyond the reach of the right fielder. It comes caroming back in. It clears the bases. Here's the first pitch to Stanton. Strike, outside corner fastball. Count is 0-1. And right now, who's your player of the game right now? Is it Judge? Is it Ben Rice? Is it Wil Warren? We shall see. Here's the 0-1 to Stanton. Swinging strike right on through that one. The count is 0-2. Stanton 0 for 4 today. Ground out, a couple of flyouts and a pop out. Hitting .417 on the season. Home run, 4 RBIs so far. 124 OPS. Comes set, does the right-hander Baychar. And the 0-2 to Stanton. Strike 3, swings right on through it. So the Yankees add 2 more on the 2-out bases clearing double by Ben Rice. And we head to the top of the 9th inning. 8-2 Yankees here for the home opener. I'm Paul DiCostanzo, and this is Bombers Game Mic. Oh boy, that was an excellent inning. That was fantastic. He was just all over that, Ben Rice. I mean, that thing was basically a foot higher. That's a 3-run job, then it would be 9-2. But right now, the Yankees now enjoy a comfortable 8-2 lead here in the home opener. Game 7 of 162 on this 2026 campaign. And so far, who's the Yankee player of the game? Right? Who's the Yankee player of the game? Is it Aaron Judge? Possibly. He's had a hell of a day. You know, I can't help but say Jazz Chisholm has definitely been in the middle of it, no doubt. Heck, even Trent Grisham has been making his way. But then, of course, you have Ben Rice, who is accounted now for 3 RBIs himself. So 3 apiece between Rice and Judge going here to the top of the 9th inning. And this is obviously, I don't think David Bednar is coming in trying to protect a 6-run lead here in the top of the 9th inning this afternoon. But this has been a quite a game for the Yankees, who have they have been pressing the entire way. They have not let the Marlins breathe for a moment. And the fact of the matter is, you look at the score, and that doesn't even reflect how many opportunities the Yankees have had with runners in scoring position so far today. That says a lot. But, oddly, interestingly enough, and let's not take this for granted, the Yankee pitching has been fantastic here today. Yet another excellent start from the Yankees rotation. Another excellent appearance so far from the Yankees pen. And now we go to the top of the 9th inning. Last licks for the visiting Marlins. And Hendricks is back out for his second inning of work. The pitch, Ryan Yarbrough, deals a ball up and away. count is 1-0. Yarbrough 4.36 last year. He's looking to get these last 3 outs for the Yankees. Here's the 1-0. And then popped right up behind the plate, and out of play is the hit by Edwards, and the count is 1-1. And we remember the exit velo from Edwards earlier. He's had a great game, and that was a bomb-ola earlier, but hasn't amounted to a hill of beans. Yarbrough comes set, and the 1-1 pitch is a fly ball to left field. Going back is Bellinger over his shoulder, and he makes the catch right over the shoulder. An amazing catch right at the warning track. Full stride over the shoulder. Hauls it in for the first out of the top of the 9th inning here in the Yankee home opener. Oh, what a play was that. My goodness, you'll have to see that. That is an old school web gem for you, old enough to appreciate that. Full extension, and yet still manages to haul it in. Even though he didn't get it clean off the leather at first, it bounced right in, never hit the ground. It is a clean first out of the inning. An amazing play in left field by Cody Bellinger, earning every one of those free agent bucks he signed for this offseason. Yarbrough comes set for the first pitch to Ramirez. Slider, sweeper down and in, and well out of the strike zone. Yeah, this was a ridiculous play. That was basically like a 1 in 1,000 type break in the favor of the Yankees, and specifically Bellinger there. So, oh, what a play. What a play. That's what you sign up for. And obviously Ryan Yarbrough is there, basically giving him a standing O on the mound, and there are 52,000 other people and myself and you who are doing the same. If you get a chance, obviously, I'm calling this radio play-by-play, but definitely go and get the replay on that thing because it is damn impressive. Yarbrough comes set. There's a runner on first. Here's the pitch. Strike, fastball, outside corner to the left-handed hitting Hicks, and the count is 0-1. Yes, runner on first. 1 out here, 0-1 count. The pitch. Sweeper down and away and out of the zone to the left-handed hitting Hicks. And this season, the Yankee bullpen, 22 and a third innings pitched, 16 hits, 4 runs, 6 walks, and 24 strikeouts. Pretty damn impressive. Now Yarbrough comes set, and the 1-1. Far seam fastball well up and into Hicks. Had to get out of the way of that. A little bit of chin music for him. And the count is now 2-1. 2-1. 8-2 Yankees here. 1 out in the top of the 9th inning. Runner on first. A 2-1 count. Ryan Yarbrough on the mound. Left-hander sets and deals. Four-seam fastball down and away. And the runner takes second on defensive indifference. And the count is now 3-1 with 1 out here in the top of the 9th. That's Ramirez taking second on defensive indifference. Yarbrough comes set, and the 3-1. Foul down the first base side and well out of play. And the count is now full 3-2 to the lefty Hicks, who, of course, is Miami's cleanup hitter. We have a runner on second, 1 out. Nobody up in the Yankee bullpen, and they're hoping to keep it that way, I am sure. Yarbrough looks in for the sign. Stepping back in is Hicks. Back onto the bump goes Yarbrough. He looks in. Ramirez down at second. Yarbrough comes set. And the lefty throws down to second, keeping him close, and he picks him off second base. Edwards is picked off second base on the pickoff throw from Yarbrough, and that is the second out of the inning. And oh boy, that is something you don't see often, folks. He caught him napping out there. He turned around quickly on him. The throw was right on line. It looks like Caballero was the one who ended up yanking it in, and then boom. Then the punch out from Blue, and he is gone. There's the instant replay on that thing, and he is clear out. Absolute professional pickoff play. Ramirez started daydreaming out there, and now he's sitting back in the dugout. The Yankees are 1 pitch away. Fly ball out to center field. Calling for it is Trent Grisham. Underneath it, in fact, is Bellinger, and that will do it. So the Yankees come through with the third and final out, and they take the home opener 8-2 against Miami. Oh, what an excellent game. There was nothing but excellent plays and solid Yankee pitching, defense, hitting. They ground out every one of those 8 runs. And for the Marlins, a couple of solo jobs, you can't take that away from them. But man, the Yankees came out and put together an extremely fine home opener here for the 2026 campaign. So hey, here we are, folks. 8-2 Yankees, the final here in the Bronx. A wonderful home opener here at the Cathedral. And if you're lucky enough to have been there yourself, Godspeed. 8-2 Yankees, the final over Miami. Really just an excellent game here for the Bronx Bombers. So all I can say is thank you for joining me, Paul, for this call of the Yankee home opener here in Game 7 of 162, the beautiful home opener. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow night for the second game of 3 in the Bronx, where Ryan Weathers is going to take the mound, and, fingers crossed for that. And thank you for joining me and having a little bit of fun on a Friday afternoon in the Bronx on Bombers Game Mike. 8-2 Yankees, and that is all she wrote. Bombers Game Mike, over and out.